This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine Volume 18, dated June 11, 1999. It highlights several games, including Soul Calibur and Make an X, teasing latest information in the magazine. The cover promotes a luxury sticker as a bonus item. Featured articles include previews or information on Climax Landers, known internationally as Time Stalkers, alongside Soul Calibur and Make an X. Other games mentioned are Hokuto E, Photo Memories, and The King of Fighters. There's also a section for Dream Mock 1999, likely referring to upcoming Dreamcast announcements or events. Further down the list, the page notes Kidu Senken Nadesico, Shenmue, Death Crimson 2, Re-VE, Resuscitation, and Buggy Heat. There is also a special feature for Dynamite Cop 2, released as Die Hard Arcade 2, outside of Japan. Finally, it lists World Neverland Plus, Olurud Kingdom Story, EGG, possibly referring to Evolution, Blue Stinger, Hokuto E, White Illumination, Redline Racer, and Sevens Cross FID. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Space Griffin, developed by Panther Software. It's a 3D action shooting game set in October 2148 on the Moon, around a massive artificial construction called Hamlet. The advert highlights the dramatic story and action shooting gameplay, promising a top-tier 3D experience. Space Griffin was scheduled for release in Japan in June 1999, with a standard price of 5,800 yen. The image shows a mech engaged in combat with explosions and a red planet in the background, hinting at a futuristic and intense setting. This page showcases a promotional feature for the Dreamcast game Heavy Metal Geomatrix. The image presents a large mech in a dynamic action pose, possibly engaged in combat with sparks and smoke effects visible. The page lists the voice cast, including Ginga Banjo as Routson, Orikasa Aiyai as Maria, Tesho Genda as Conrad, Toshihiko Seki as Smiley, Yusaku Yara as Oleg, Sakiko Tamagawa as Francis, and Yuzuru Fujimoto. Production staff are also mentioned, including Koichi Sugawara, Masaki Aizawa, and Tomoko Kawakami. The bottom right displays the logo of Panther Software, the game's developer. This page is an advertisement announcing the launch of a new internet web TV service for the Dreamcast, emphasizing how different and superior it is in various aspects such as user experience, service, simplicity, sound, video, fun, excitement, emotion, and overall thoroughness. It promotes this new service as a distinct and improved way to access internet TV on the Dreamcast. The next page is an advertisement for Web TV on Dreamcast highlighting its email features, emphasizing easy access and operation. It mentions sending emails with images and sounds, managing family accounts, and saving on phone bills with offline message composition. A free Web TV connection kit is advertised, obtainable by sending in a postcard from the Dreamcast box, offering 15 hours of free monthly usage, and also promoting a Web TV bingo campaign with a prize. This page is the contents page for Dreamcast Magazine and features a variety of articles. It highlights E3 Report 2 with interviews from SOA's top executives. There's a section covering Dream Project, investigating the truth behind MILCDs on Dreamcast. The page also previews simulator games, mentioning F355 Challenge, produced by Yu Suzuki and AM2. A Dreamcast special news section introduces upcoming titles, including Soul Calibur, MAKENX, Kita E, White Illumination, The King of Fighters 99, Dream Match, Shenmue, Death Crimson 2, Martian Successor Nadesico, The Mission, Crazy Taxi 2, Buggy Heat, and Revive. The Dreamcast Hot Information section details new game releases such as Giant Graham 2000, All Japan Pro Wrestling 3, Frame Gride D2, Pro Baseball Team wo Tsukuru, World Neverland 2 Plus, Boruto Ukoku Monogatari, Toucan Retsuden 4, Sentuin no Himitsu no Smile, Chao Hatsume Boy Kanapan, and Seibutsu Heiki Expendable. A Dreamcast Soft Complete Guide section lists strategy guides for Elemental Gimmick Gear, Kita E, White Illumination, Blue Stinger, and Redline Racer. Finally, there is an advert for Dynamite Cop, celebrating its DC edition release with special stickers. This game index from a magazine catalogs articles on Dreamcast and Sega Saturn games and related content. The Dreamcast section includes titles like Elemental Gimmick Gear, Shenmue, Asterisk, and Asterisk Soul Calibur, among many others. The Sega Saturn section focuses on Asterisk Monster Maker Holly Garland, Additional sections cover news, reader submissions, anime, manga, and features from various contributors. Specific sections include Weekly News Landmark, New Anime Information Anime Check It, and Godly World Evolution Manga Chapter 8. A 7th Cross-Fighting Integration Disc article is highlighted at the top. This page is from Dreamcast Magazine Weekly News, announcing a Sega New Challenge Conference 99 on June 1st. The conference is expected to reveal big news for the Dreamcast, including the price point and further details. The Dreamcast launch price in America is stated as $199.99 and £199 in the UK, with comparisons to French and German prices. The article mentions that the previous conference before the Dreamcast launch revealed the Japanese price of 29,800 yen. The upcoming conference is anticipated to have significant announcements, although it is not open to the public, and the Dreamcast magazine will have a report in their next issue, available on June 4th. The page also includes an image of the Dreamcast console and controller, and a photo from a previous conference showing a Namco executive shaking hands, hinting at potential new partnerships or announcements at the upcoming event. Sega and related companies have several announcements. Marvelous is collaborating with Sega's AM Business to develop arcade games, including a mahjong title for Naomi. Saigon, a new company led by Yoko Yoshida, is developing a Dreamcast romance simulation game. The Tokyo Game Show, 99 Autumn, will be held from September 17th-19th, with tickets at 1,200 yen. A Dreamcast magazine homepage will launch on June 1st. Sega is also hosting a Get Bass Month competition in June, with prizes. Finally, an audition for the Sun Music Talent Audition Joyopolis Campaign Girl is advertised. The popular sky cruising attraction will be available at Umeda Joyopolis in Osaka in late June. This page details several upcoming events and campaigns. A Dreamcast is Coming event will be held in Osaka on June 6th, featuring game demos, tournaments, and merchandise. ASCII is offering an internet game qualification test until June 9th for aspiring game professional advisors. A Pia Carrot long-term fair is ongoing at Gamers stores until August 31st, with a special Pia Carrot restaurant opening at Gamers Square. A new Super Doll Licca-chan CD will be released on July 23rd, and Tomoe Sakurai will embark on a summer live tour. Finally, AKIBA X99 Internet Show in Akihabara will take place from July 17th to 20th, showcasing Dreamcast network battles, PC and Internet products, seminars, and an anniversary sale. This page announces the launch of Dreamcast Direct, a new service started on April 27th that allows users to purchase Dreamcast games directly online. Games are delivered within 3 to 4 days after ordering, and shipping is free for purchases over 5,000 yen. The page features an interview with Mr. Sato from Sega's Dreamcast Business Division, who discusses user feedback on the new service, noting positive reactions on BBS and how user input is being incorporated to improve it daily. He mentions the goal of boosting Dreamcast's market share by 10% with this service, emphasizing the convenience for users unable to easily reach physical stores. Future plans include expanding licensed software availability and integrating pre-order and regular items into the same shopping cart. They are working on improving delivery options and payment methods, including web money and credit cards, to enhance user convenience. The service handles Dreamcast and Saturn consoles, peripherals, and software. Payment options include credit card, cash on delivery, and DreamPoint Bank. Delivery for new software ordered within 30 to 7 days of release is on the release day, while existing software takes 34 days. Orders can be placed via the internet or phone. Finally, there's an advertisement for pre-ordering Giant Graham All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan, with a bonus visual memory strap, scheduled for release on June 17th. This page is an E3 report focusing on Sega and other manufacturers present at the event. The Sega booth was very crowded, showcasing around 30 Dreamcast titles and generating a lot of excitement. 2 games stood out as particularly popular: Seaman, which had crowds watching it and featured English speech, and Shenmue, highlighted as a high-end, visually impressive game. The page also announces the revival of the classic Mega Drive title Echo the Dolphin on Dreamcast. A demo was shown, but the release date was still to be determined. There's also a look at the packaging for the American Dreamcast console, which is designed to evoke a sense of the future and the network era. Beyond Sega, the report briefly mentions other companies at E3, including Konami showcasing Dance Dance Revolution arcade game. Pokémon was also incredibly popular in America, with dedicated shops and even Pikachu cars seen around. Sega's NAOMI arcade board was also highlighted with games like Dead or Alive 2 and Spawn. Interestingly, 3DO was also present at the show, indicating they were still active in the U.S. market at the time. This page reports on the Electronic Entertainment Expo E3, highlighting the spectacle and extravagance of the American event. The article notes how American booths are elaborate and lavish with decorations and free promotional items. It mentions the presence of beautiful companion girls at the event, noting a more casual and approachable atmosphere compared to Japan. The article focuses on the booth decorations, particularly praising the large-scale setups of Nintendo and Sega. Nintendo's booth featured a giant Mario, while Sega's had a massive flaming Sonic the Hedgehog, although jokingly stating it was likely fake fire. The page also talks about character performances at the booths, showing images of costumed characters and performers, highlighting the excitement and spectacle. There are screenshots of games, including a futuristic flying game and what appears to be Space Channel 5, showing gameplay footage. The Editor's Eyes section provides journalist impressions of the event, noting the strong software lineup for Sega, with many titles being released simultaneously with the console. It mentions a shift in mood compared to Japan, feeling more open and less rigid. It also mentions visual concepts and their John Madden football franchise, suggesting they might achieve similar success in Japan. The journalist ends with a comment about online play being slightly concerning. Finally, there's a section about a reader giveaway of rare promotional goods collected at E3. Sega of America executives Bernard Stolar and Toshiro Kazuka express optimism about the Dreamcast launch in America. Stolar highlights overwhelming positive reception at E3, anticipating strong pre-orders and 1.2 million units sold by Christmas. He emphasizes the high quality and quantity of Dreamcast software. Kazuka credits the positive reception to software quality, third-party support, and marketing strategy. Nikora, a correspondent for Edge, notes the large software library and positive buzz surrounding the Dreamcast. He finds the $199 price attractive, especially compared to competitors, and highlights the built-in modem as a key advantage. Nikora believes the Dreamcast will attract PC gamers and older Sega Genesis fans. He praises Sega's focus on games appealing to overseas markets, acknowledging differences in game preferences. This page highlights an interview with Chris Gilbert, Senior Vice President of Sales at Sega of America, and Peter Moore, Senior Vice President of Marketing, discussing the Dreamcast launch strategy in America, codenamed Erica Top 4. Chris Gilbert explains that initial internal targets were set lower due to market conditions, but pre-orders exceeded expectations, reaching around 600,000 to 700,000 units. He mentions strong partnerships with major retail chains in America, expecting Dreamcast to be sold in 15,000 stores. Peter Moore discusses marketing strategies and the commercial production by PDI, known for CG movies like Ants. The commercial aims to represent Dreamcast itself as the main character. He mentions the popularity of sports games like basketball and football in America, alongside arcade-style games, citing titles like Daytona USA, The House of the Dead, Soul Calibur, Marvel vs. Capcom, and Power Stone as examples of successful genres. He notes the strong game lineup as a key factor for success and discusses post-launch software plans, emphasizing the effectiveness of American advertising. The page also mentions the movie Ants and a CG commercial being produced by PDI for the American Dreamcast launch, referencing the movie poster Ants as an example of their work. The article also mentions game magazine Edge and features an interview with Nicolas Di Constanzo, a Japanese resident journalist. This page talks about the MIL-CD format for Dreamcast, which is described as a user and developer-friendly media. It is explained that MIL-CD uses standard CD extra format instead of GDROM, aiming to revitalize the music CD market. One of the key features is the ability to play audio and video content simultaneously, making it ideal for music and promotional videos. The picture quality is touted as being superior to VHS thanks to the use of MPEG softdeck, and it also supports internet connectivity through NetFront browser and JV Lite Java module. The page features an interview with Sega consumer software producer Noriko Ishimoto, who explains the project's origins. She mentions that the idea for MIL-CD came about from seeing how short promotional videos were and wanting to create an easier way for people to view them on Dreamcast. She emphasizes that MIL-CD is intended to be a dream-providing media and acknowledges the challenges faced during development, particularly in the music industry. The Dreamcast is getting a new MIL-CD format designed to blend music and video content. The first title is Kita E, White Illumination, Pure Songs and Pictures, a game soundtrack with music, animations, and character art. Over 10 companies plan to release MILCDs by year-end, spanning various genres. Sega's Ishii-san sees the format as a potential standard, aiming to provide a richer entertainment experience than audio or video alone, and hopes to collaborate with the music industry. Announced titles include releases from Sony Music Entertainment, BMG Japan, and Pony Canyon. Major record labels like Sony, Toys Factory, and others are also in negotiations. The key to MILCD includes character theme songs, background music, and animated content featuring game characters, with the disc including character song cards. The format aims to attract a broad audience and be enjoyed in various ways. This page announces the arrival of the Neo Mi Surge for Sega arcades, showcasing the highly anticipated arcade game F355 Challenge. Developed in collaboration with Ferrari, this racing simulator promises an ultra-realistic experience, going beyond anything seen before. It is built on the NAOMI arcade board and is described as a dream car experience for drivers worldwide. The page details a press conference held on May 19, Wednesday, showcasing the game's 3-screen setup for immersive gameplay. The event featured appearances by racing drivers and race queens, highlighting the realism and spectacle of the game. It mentions that Ferrari themselves praised the game's high degree of perfection. Additionally, the page mentions other Sega titles being showcased, including B-Series, with the latest title, Firefighter Brave Firefighters. This game uses a hose peripheral for a realistic firefighting experience and is noted to be on a separate enhanced board, not NAOMI. Finally, there's a section introducing new metal games, highlighting games in the baseball genre, and new metal game cabinets. This page showcases the impressive realism of the upcoming Dreamcast racing game, F355 Challenge. It emphasizes how the game aims to recreate the real Ferrari F355 experience, stating it's so realistic it could be used for professional driver training. The page highlights features like AI assistance for beginners, detailed force feedback, and even the ability to print out your driving data after a race. It mentions the attention to detail in simulating car systems like SC, TC, ABS, and IBS, offering various assist levels for both beginners and expert players. The game is described as being 70% complete at the time of the article, and interviews with Suzuki Yu and other developers reveal their long-term dedication to creating the ultimate racing simulator experience. They aim to make a game that is both enjoyable for newcomers and challenging for experienced racing drivers, with realistic car behavior and physics. The developers also mention the arcade game roots of F355 Challenge and their desire to bring that experience to home consoles, appealing to Ferrari fans and racing enthusiasts alike. Dreamcast Magazine's sales ranking reveals the top 10 games. The House of the Dead 2 Inches leads, a shooting game by Sega, with strong weekly and cumulative sales. Get Bass, a fishing game, takes second, praised for its addictive consumer mode. Blue Stinger, an action-adventure title, is third, while Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, secures fourth. Sega Rally 2 is fifth, still popular for its network battles. Power Stone ranks sixth, with an enjoyable single-player experience, while Sonic Adventure is 7th, maintaining its appeal. Poppin' Music is at 8th, followed by the RPG, Getter Love, Cho-Renai Party Game at 9th. Finally, Puyo Puyon, a puzzle game, rounds out the top 10. This page reveals the top 30 most anticipated Dreamcast titles, as voted by readers. Taking the top spot is Shenmue, with a massive 564 points, showcasing Ryo Hazuki and Shenhua in a screenshot, and highlighting the game's network features and high-end graphics. Grandia 2 is in second place, with 469 points, showing Ryudo and Elena in its screenshot, and teasing the magic system. Soul Calibur secures third place, with 430 points, featuring Sophitia in the image, and focusing on its impressive visuals. The weekly pickup spotlights 2 games. First, Climax Landers, ranked 21st, showing a robotic character, and mentioning new monster designs and strategic elements. Second, Des Crimson 2, ranked 28th, presents a combat scene and emphasizes the enhanced Emperor power system. Other highly anticipated games in the list include Resident Evil Code, Veronica, SNK vs. Batix, Capcom, Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 01, Zionic Front, Seaman, Virtual On, Oratorio Tangram, D2, Black Matrix AD. The King of Fighters Dream Match 1999, Sega Pocket Club Football Nadesico. The Mission, Street Fighter Alpha 3, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Sentimental Graffiti 2, Let's Make a Professional Baseball Team, Sunrise Ayutan Revive. Sosei, Tokyo Extreme Racer, Idol Janshi Suchipai 2, Remix, Giant Graham 2000, All Japan Pro Wrestling 3, Melty Lancer III, Frame Gride, Berserk, Let's Play Professional Baseball, and Air Force Delta. This page features two main game rankings. The first is the Transfer Hope Top 20, a reader poll of games they want to see ported to the Dreamcast. Number 1 is the Sakura Wars series, followed by Rent a Hero, Super Robot Wars series, and the Final Fantasy series. Other games in the top 20 include Virtua Striker 2 Feet 99, Shining Force series, Dead or Alive 2, Daytona USA 2, Gigawing, Phantasy Star series, and Crazy Taxi 2. The article highlights Dead or Alive 2 and its Naomi Arcade hardware origins as something to watch. The second ranking is the Video Game Income Ranking Top 15, listing the top earning arcade games. Virtua Fighter 3 TB leads the chart, with Virtua Striker 2 Feet 99 in second place, and Cybertroopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram Ver. 5.4 at number 3. Other prominent games in this arcade ranking are Street Fighter 03, Spike Out, The House of the Dead 2, and Crazy Taxi. The page also includes a weekly pickup section focusing on the upcoming arcade game Ferrari F355 Challenge, stating it's coming soon and running on Naomi Arcade hardware. It describes it as a serious racing simulator with realistic graphics and handling, promising a true-to-life Ferrari experience and urging players to get excited for its summer release. Finally, there's a section about Zombie Revenge, showing a screenshot and questioning if it might be the next Naomi Arcade game to be ported to the Dreamcast. This page is a release schedule and software/hardware listing for the Dreamcast. It details upcoming games categorized by release timeframe, such as coming soon, this summer, this autumn, this winter, and unreleased, showcasing a wide range of titles from different manufacturers and genres. The software section lists games chronologically starting from June 1999 and going into the future, including anticipated titles like Biohazard Code, Veronica, known internationally as Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Shenmue Chapter 2, which became Shenmue 2, Soul Calibur, and Sonic Adventure. There's a good mix of genres covered, including shooting, action, RPG, and simulation games. The hardware section lists upcoming Dreamcast peripherals, including the Neo Geo Pocket/Dreamcast connection cable, a zip drive, and a fishing controller. Finally, there is a table of contents explanation section that deciphers the genre abbreviations used throughout the listings, such as ACT for action, RPG for role-playing, and SHT for shooting, along with symbols indicating compatibility with the VM, microphone, and controller types. This page showcases the Reader's Race Dreamcast Game Ranking from Dreamcast Magazine, Issue 20. It highlights the top-rated games as voted by readers, with Sega Rally 2 taking the number 1 spot, described as visually and sonically impressive for the new hardware, though some found the car physics a bit slippery. Sonic Adventure ranks second, praised for its speed and graphics, offering varied gameplay with different characters. Third place is The House of the Dead 2, noted for its thrilling and immersive horror experience, although some found the reload mechanic outside of the arcade-style screen annoying. The page also presents a ranked list of 35 Dreamcast titles, showing their genres, total votes, and average scores. Games listed include Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, Power Stone, Virtua Fighter 3 TB, Blue Stinger, Evolution, The World of Sacred Device, Puyo Puyon, Godzilla Generations, Incoming, Humanity's Last Battle, Redline Racer, Tetris 4D, and others, alongside Japanese-only titles such as Web Mystery, Yoshi Yume o Miru Neko, and various shogi and mahjong games. A section introduces the Visual Memory and Kid DC-DC peripheral, highlighting its use in the Chao Hatsume Boy Canipan game, and its potential for minigames. Finally, a coming soon ranking previews upcoming titles, with Dynamite Cop, Die Hard Arcade 2, and Elemental Gimmick Gear leading the anticipation. This page reviews top-rated Dreamcast games, including Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes, Power Stone, a multiplayer fighting game, Poppin' Music, a music game, and Aerodancing featuring Blue Impulse. It also ranks Dreamcast peripherals, and games based on user scores. Dreamhorse's voice features player comments about new characters in a fighting game, premium content for Gundam Gaiden Colony of the Fallen Ground, and a fishing experience in Get Base. The page details a contest where readers predict the rankings of the King of Fighters Dream Match 1999. Finally, there's a giveaway of an arcade stick, VM, and a software title for 5 entrants, along with the winners of a previous contest. This page is a preview for Soul Calibur on Dreamcast, highlighting the expressive character models, specifically Xianghua. The article details how the character's facial expressions and mouth movements have been significantly improved, even showing the inside of the mouth, which was a notable advancement at the time, moving beyond simple texture animation. The game is described as a 3D weapon-based fighting action title from Namco and is slated for a summer release, with the price yet to be determined, and confirming it will be compatible with the Vibration Pack. The article emphasizes the enhanced visual quality and character modeling in this Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur. This page is about the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur and highlights the improvements in character models, especially focusing on the face and skeletal structure of characters like Maxi. The text emphasizes the enhanced quality of character models compared to previous versions, pointing out the balanced proportions from the neck upwards and downwards, indicating a focus on realistic human representation. They mention details like the mouth and jaw movements being meticulously crafted, even including the tongue. The commentary from Namco VS Development Department, represented by Mr. Setoyama Akihiro from the Namco VS Development Department, mentions that the polygon count is increased, making characters look more human-like and refined. They specifically mention Ivy's improved appearance. The page also states that the subtle nuances of facial expressions and overall image of the model have evolved. It concludes by asking if the reader can perceive Maxi's increased three-dimensional feel and how the mouth and jaw movements have changed. The bottom text urges the reader to take the real feeling of intensity. The page uses screenshots of Maxi to demonstrate the improvements in facial expressions and model detail. There is also a smaller image that looks like Ivy from Soul Calibur. This page is an article focusing on Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast and delves into the meaning behind newly released photos from Namco. It's presented as an emergency project report. The article highlights the positive reception of the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur at E3. It mentions significant improvements over the previous Tokyo Game Show (TGS) version, particularly in character models, including the industry-first jiggle physics for female characters. All characters now have first and second costumes. The page includes motion capture photos, explaining that these images are of motion capture sessions, showcasing the process of creating realistic character movements. It's mentioned that Namco used optical motion capture with light sensors. The article questions the purpose of releasing these photos now. When asked about the meaning of the photos, CS Public Relations Representative Benjamin Yamada stated, "No, there is no other meaning in particular," suggesting it's simply to show the motion capture process. The article briefly touches upon speculation about other possible new modes or games from the same VS development team behind Soul Calibur, like Soul Tennis or Dancing Eye, but dismisses them as unrelated to the current focus on Soul Calibur. Finally, it's noted that the Dreamcast version of Soul Calibur is gaining attention and will be released simultaneously worldwide. The article ends by asking, "So, what's different?" This page is showcasing a Soul Calibur illustration contest that was held by Namco and Dreamcast Magazine. They received a large number of submissions, which are shown as piles of illustrations in boxes. There are messages from the development team expressing surprise at the volume of submissions, especially during Golden Week holiday period. They mention that selected illustrations will appear in the game. The page also features examples of fan-submitted illustrations of Soul Calibur characters like Kilik and Xianghua, with comments highlighting the quality of the artwork. A section titled VS Development Department Carrier Development Diary includes comments from a developer, referred to as Banhira Ichi, discussing the development of Soul Calibur for Dreamcast. He mentions focusing on detailed graphics, polygon models, and character design, including female character models. He also mentions that the Dreamcast version is about 30% complete at this time, and that the team is working hard on the graphics and is confident that players will be impressed with the final product and enjoy playing the game. He also mentions that the E3 showing of the Dreamcast version was well received. This page is a Soul Calibur special issue page presenting Story Part Backbone SIDESTORY Plus character file. It's focused on the Land of the East and the events happening there within the Soul Calibur story. The page is titled Story File #.5 Side Story, Land of the East. It It details a backstory focusing on Taki and her group, the Seimashu, who are demon hunters. The text mentions Mekimaru, a cursed sword. A character relationship diagram titled People Surrounding Taki Relationship Diagram is displayed, outlining connections between characters like Maki, Maki's father, Mitsurugi Heishiro, Sophidia, Li Long, Chi, Taki, Hachibei, Giki, and the Seima clan. It highlights relationships like rivalry, parent-child, romantic interest, and mission objectives related to Mekimaru. Characters like Zhangwu and the Ryukyu Kingdom are also mentioned, with connections to Li Long and Maki. This page is dedicated to Soul Calibur, detailing the storyline and ongoing events. It starts by recapping the story of Soul Edge, the legendary cursed sword from the 16th century, explaining it was originally two swords, but one was destroyed. The evil energy of Soul Edge absorbs souls, and Cervantes is mentioned as wielding one part of it. The narrative highlights the chaos and disasters caused by the sword, mentioning Evil Palm as a related concept. The main text focuses on the ninja Taki, who, using her intuition and information network, locates Hachihei and Senri. These two run a tea house and are living with Riron, a man who taught martial arts to Maki. Riron, driven by nationalism after arriving from abroad, has been assassinating nobles, but was injured and rescued by Senri. Despite her kindness, he seems to harbor dark intentions, possibly towards Mabraki. Hachihei reveals to Taki that her sword Toki is being influenced by Genemaru, and is not the same anymore. He also mentions Genemaru's immense power, and asks Taki to defeat him, as he feels his own death is near. Taki, upon learning this, decides to help, planning to fake Hachihei and Senri's deaths to protect them and inform her clan about the situation. The page includes character art of Cervantes and Taki, alongside images of a Japanese temple and a Buddha statue, setting the scene and tone for the Soul Calibur narrative. This Soul Calibur special issue focuses on Taki, a ninja who seeks to eliminate the Soul Edge. Taki previously defeated Cervantes and possesses a fragment of Soul Edge. She attempted to repair her sword, Rekimaru, with this fragment, leading to Rekimaru resonating with the Soul Edge and the creation of a powerful Mekimaru. Taki suspects Mekimaru is linked to the unbroken Soul Edge, and its dark power caused her to flee after an incident involving Giki. Taki's weapons, Rekimaru and Mekimaru, are custom ninja swords designed for exorcism, though not created through ancient techniques. Rekimaru was damaged in battle, but remains Taki's cherished weapon. Mekimaru possesses extraordinary power, potentially linked to Soul Edge. Taki's current goal is to destroy both Mekimaru and the Soul Edge, and she travels to confront Nightmare and his Soul Edge. The game features Taki's dual sword fighting style, utilizing both Rekimaru and Mekimaru. Tanaki, a character from Soul Calibur, is characterized by three primary fighting elements. First, she utilizes speed and agility to overcome her short weapon reach. Her rapid movements and attacks, such as Agiha, allow her to overwhelm opponents before they can exploit her range limitations. Second, Taki excels at unpredictable movement and ring-out strategies. Moves like Kazaguruma and Kasumigake enable her to circle opponents, reposition, and capitalize on ring-out opportunities, while also allowing for defensive maneuvers. Third, Taki's Yadori stance system provides her with diverse offensive and defensive options. This stance, accessible mid-combo, offers special attacks and strategic positioning with moves like Shizudama Yadori, Aragami Yadori, Kaze Yadori, and Ayakashi Yadori, making her a dynamic and versatile fighter who thrives on closing the distance quickly. Mastering the Yadori stance is key to her unpredictable, powerful attack patterns. This page is a Dreamcast special report for the adventure game Maken X, announcing its release date for September 1999, published by Atlas. The article states that previously unreleased information about the game's story and events are being revealed, focusing on the early stages of development and the game's narrative. It also highlights the first-ever character illustrations. Screenshots from a development version are shown, depicting a futuristic room with a green liquid container, a character in a red outfit in a futuristic environment, and an airport scene with airplanes. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Maken X, known internationally as Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage. It discusses the game's deeper elements beyond action, highlighting its adventure game aspects focusing on story and events. The player becomes the Maken itself, driving the narrative and shaping the ending based on their choices. The article delves into the concept of image, described as a spiritual entity or soul, scientifically recognized and existing in a separate dimension called the image world. Mental illnesses in the game's world are linked to diseased images, and Meikenshi is designed to sever and control these images. The preview mentions the protagonist and heroine, whose images are controllable, suggesting the brainjack mechanic allows manipulation of these spiritual essences. The page includes screenshots from the game and an image of the Meikenshi weapon. This page delves into the prologue story development of Kenka Bansho X, a game for Dreamcast, subtitled Pursuing Its True Form. The article introduces the game's setting, starting with the birth of a demon sword and progressing to Flight Linked On. The text details a world influenced by strange phenomena, leading to global power shifts and the rise of China. Amidst this backdrop, in Japan, the Kanazawa Integrated Academic Research Institute is researching the connection between the spiritual and material worlds. This institute is where the demon sword is being developed, seemingly to treat mental illnesses. But things are not going as planned. The narrative progresses to a scene within the institute, where researchers, including a character named K, are observing the demon sword's image. Suddenly, an armed group of strange figures attacks the research facility. This group is led by Andre Daisuke of the Miyoshi Association. During the attack, a character named Li Fei Chao, a swordsman, desperately protects K. In the chaos, a voice urges K to take the sword due to a blood contract, and she takes hold of a sword. The final screenshot shows Andre Daisuke and his group invading the Research Institute director's office, seizing a light, and escaping via a heliport. The page showcases in-game screenshots, hinting at sword-based combat and dramatic story sequences within the game. Kenka Bansho X appears to be a Japanese exclusive title for the Dreamcast. This page highlights details of the story and events in the Dreamcast title, Meiken X. The main focus is on the abducted director, Hiromitsu Sagami, who is a pioneer in image engineering and the father of the heroine, Kei Sagami. The story kicks off with Kei and the demon sword Meiken pursuing Sagami after he is kidnapped by the mysterious Mitsume Society. The page reveals that Kei, who is fused with the Meiken sword, is being guided by the Sword Saint Elder to track down the Mitsume Society. However, Kei's childhood friend Kogu is concerned about the dangers of this fusion. The article mentions that by brainjacking an enemy related to the director's abduction, they discover he was taken to Moscow. Screenshots show in-game action, where Kei confronts assassins from the Mitsume Society in a research facility setting. The assassins have a Chinese or Hong Kong-style aesthetic. The gameplay appears to be action-focused with sword combat, taking place in locations like a large research lab where Carrie will encounter various enemies, including those with projectile attacks. This page introduces the characters in the Dreamcast game, Meiken X. It highlights the involvement of Kazuma Kaneko in character design and delves into the details of key figures within the game. The page showcases the Sealed Sword Clan and its members, featuring Li Fusio, the clan's elder, described as a wise man who maintained world balance. It also introduces Li Fei Kao, a member of the Sealed Swords, who carries a mission to awaken the demonic sword, and is Kei Sagami's family teacher from Hong Kong. The protagonist is revealed to be the demonic sword itself, named Deus Ex Machina. The heroine is Kei Sagami, a high school student. The page also touches upon the Three Industries Association and features Colonel Andre, seemingly part of an antagonist group described as a Hong Kong-based crime syndicate that opposes the sealed swords and demonic swords. Gameplay screenshots are shown, depicting in-game action. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Meiken X. It reveals details about the game's story and characters. Key figures introduced include Hiromitsu Sagami, the director, and Kei's father. Researchers Ann Miller and J.J. Jones, who are crucial to the demon sword development. And Kei's childhood friend, Ku Yamashiro. The preview explains image as a spiritual essence being researched, and how Kei has uniquely fused with it. It emphasizes the complex human relationships and drama that unfold in Meiken X, as Kei pursues his father and gets involved in a deeper story. The page features character artwork and in-game screenshots illustrating these points. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Meiken X. The article focuses on the game's branching story and how player choices influence the narrative and even the length of the game. It emphasizes that the story unfolds in various real-world locations, including Japan's Kanazawa Institute of Technology, the Flightlink Arcade, Hong Kong, India, Moscow, London, Istanbul, Amsterdam, Transylvania, and the jungle. The article mentions that the stages are designed to resemble familiar scenery, but with a twist, suggesting a parallel world setting. The gameplay section explains that the branching paths are determined not just by simple choices, but by the player's actions, including who they brainjack and how they react to situations and instructions. The game features branch points based on these actions. It highlights that who the player fights and where they choose to go next further impacts the story's development, emphasizing the player's agency in shaping the narrative from the very beginning, starting from a battle on a plane. The page includes screenshots showcasing in-game action and environments, such as a Japanese-style building, a European street with a windmill, and a Hong Kong street scene at night, illustrating the diverse locations and graphical style of Make an X. This page showcases the Dreamcast game Make an X, emphasizing its groundbreaking features. The focus is on how the game uses real-time polygon rendering for event scenes, moving away from pre-rendered movies to create a more immersive and dynamic story experience. These real-time events, possible due to the Dreamcast's power, allow for subtle changes based on player actions and blend seamlessly with the gameplay, aiming to deeply draw players into the game's world. Another key aspect highlighted is the game's 3D stereophonic sound. The game aims for realistic audio, incorporating weapon sounds, impacts, and even the sense of enemy presence through 3D audio. It's recommended to play with stereo speakers instead of headphones or standard TV speakers to fully appreciate the sound design. The screenshots depict futuristic aircraft and in-game combat, and mention is made of character dialogue being presented with voice and subtitles. The page teases a grand storyline and promises more details about the narrative in a future interview. The game was anticipated to be seen in September. This page is dedicated to showcasing illustrations from the Dreamcast titles Kita-E Photo Memories and Kita-E White Illumination. It highlights the abundance of girl illustrations and setting materials included in Kita-E Photo Memories. The page details how setting materials contains numerous rough sketches and setting art for each character, including full-body views, costume designs, and facial expressions. The Nochi Gallery is introduced as a feature within Kita-E Photo Memories, where players can enjoy opening and in-game illustrations, as well as color artworks. The article praises the unique art style of NOCCHI and how the Dreamcast's high resolution enhances these visuals. It mentions that even unreleased cuts and original drawings are included in the collection, providing a comprehensive look at the game's art. The page features screenshots of various illustrations, including full-body character shots, setting roughs, image illustrations, and illustrations that were published in magazines. The menu options for Kita-E Photo Memories are listed as Mini Adventure, Album, Profile, Setting Materials, Nochi Gallery, and System Settings. This page is an advertisement for Kita-E Photo Memories, a Dreamcast fan disc by Hudson, scheduled for release in the summer of 1999. It is described as an illustration collection and mini-adventure game. The advert emphasizes the Dreamcast's zoom feature, allowing players to closely examine the detailed artwork. It's aimed at fans of the original Kita-E game, offering more illustrations and a mini-adventure with the beloved characters. The page also notes it's a single-player experience, and the price is yet to be decided. Character sketches and an image of a girl in an apron are featured. This page previews a new mini-adventure scenario for the Dreamcast game, Kita-E Photo Memories. This mini-adventure is set during the summer and involves dating scenarios with 8 different girls. The page highlights new graphics for the game, including brand new summer outfits and swimsuits for the girls. It mentions that this new scenario is set over 3 days during the summer holidays and will feature romantic events with the girls. Screenshots show different girls in their summer clothes and swimsuits in beach and pool settings, showcasing the new graphical content for this summer adventure. The text also indicates that even if locations are familiar from the main game, the experience will be fresh due to the new outfits and evolving relationships with the girls. This page is showcasing new date spots in the game Kita-E White Illumination, North to White Illumination, focusing on romantic locations within Hokkaido. It highlights several locations, such as Abashiri National Park, depicting a field of flowers, and emphasizing the abundance of wildflowers and lakes. Daisetsuzan National Park is presented with mountain scenery and fresh air. Otaru is showcased with a church setting, mentioning it as a place of memories from the main story, and now a new date spot. Finally, the Jigokudani area is shown with a town view, referencing the sulfurous smell of the hot springs and the Jigokudani Valley. The page emphasizes that Hokkaido's wide area is the stage for the game and promotes these locations as ideal settings for dates within the game. This page is a preview for The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999 for both Neo Geo Pocket Color and Dreamcast. It's announced for release in Japan on June 24th at a price of 5,800 yen for the Dreamcast version, which is also compatible with the Neo Geo Pocket. The article mentions a slight delay in the release, but emphasizes that this extra time will improve the game's quality. It focuses on explaining the two main gameplay modes, Advanced and Extra. The page features screenshots showcasing the Dreamcast version's graphics and gameplay. There are character selection screens highlighting the large roster of fighters available in the game. It mentions that the Dreamcast version is based on the arcade version of King of Fighters 1999. The article details a feeling variation system, which is about selecting different fighting styles, and a challenge development system, where players can build up power gauges. It also mentions network communication features with the Neo Geo Pocket Color version, allowing players to send and receive data to unlock hidden visual content in KOF 1999 on Dreamcast. In short, this page is a hype piece for The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999, detailing its features, modes, and cross-platform connectivity between Dreamcast and Neo Geo Pocket Color. This page from Dreamcast Magazine 1999 is detailing the play modes in The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999. It explains the differences between the Advanced and Extra modes, specifically focusing on the power gauge and evasion systems. The power gauge differences section highlights that in Advanced mode, the gauge fills up by attacking or guarding, reaching max allows special moves, and power max can be stocked. In Extra mode, the gauge can be filled at will. Reaching max automatically activates power max, and super special moves are freely available when health is low. The evasion move differences section details how Advanced mode has emergency evasion, which allows forward or backward evades but has openings after the move. Extra mode features attack evasion, which is an on-the-spot evade without openings and allows counterattacks, but throws cannot be evaded. The advantage system section describes how the game uses stock, and in Advanced mode, gauge stock can increase up to 5. It mentions using stock when switching characters mid-round, and how having stock at the start of rounds is advantageous. It also mentions the power gauge gets shorter in later rounds, making it easier to reach max status. The page includes screenshots showing in-game action and UI elements that visually demonstrate these different systems in The King of Fighters, Dream Match 1999. This page is a special feature focusing on the incredible facial expressions and graphics of the upcoming Dreamcast title, Shenmue. The headline screams, Hong Kong Shoei, shocking face, highlighting the realism of the character models, especially the main character Hong Kong Shoei, likely referring to Hong Kong and Zhu Ying. It mentions the game is currently 50% complete and features high-end face technology, showcasing realistic facial expressions and lip syncing. The article details the development process, stating that it takes 2 weeks to create one character model. It emphasizes the advanced CG technology used, allowing for realistic skin texture, muscle movement, and hair. The screenshots show impressive character close-ups, including Ryo Hazuki and the menacing Chai, showcasing detailed facial expressions. The article mentions Shenmue Chapter 1 Yokosuka, with a planned release date of August 5th, and Shenmue Second Chapter, tentative title, which is planned for release this winter. The author, Takeuchi Hirotoshi, a multimedia game journalist, praises the high-end face technology as movie-like CG that previously required expensive machines, but is now possible on Dreamcast. He is impressed by the level of detail and the realistic human expressions achieved in the game, anticipating the future possibilities for game graphics and storytelling. This page is centered around the impressive facial expressions and details in games, focusing on high-end face technology, with Shenmue as a prime example. It highlights the effort put into creating realistic character faces, going beyond simple movie-like graphics to achieve real-time, interactive expressions on the Dreamcast. The article talks about the detail in the character's skin, using multiple colors to achieve naturalness, and the attention to detail in muscle movements and even inside the mouth. 2 character examples are given: Bone Shop Owner, showcasing realistic aged skin, and Foreign Sailor, emphasizing the asymmetrical human-like quality of the face, noting lip synchronization and subtle facial movements to match spoken words. The article emphasizes the emotional depth conveyed through these detailed facial expressions, suggesting a new level of immersion in games on the Dreamcast. This page presents a detailed preview of Shenmue, highlighting the incredible scale and interactivity within the Aoyagi family house. It emphasizes that the game world features over 1,200 buildings, and this article specifically focuses on the Aoyagi residence in Yokosuka. Screenshots showcase various rooms within the house, including the entrance hall, toilet, corridor, living room, Ryo's room, and kitchen, illustrating the detailed environments players can explore. The text explains that players can freely investigate every corner of the house and interact with objects, performing actions like picking up oranges, opening drawers, and searching the refrigerator. Yu Suzuki, the director, emphasizes the immersive nature of Shenmue, stating that the game recreates the feeling of everyday life. The article also mentions that the game is set in the winter of 1986. This page for Shenmue, titled Shenmue Azuki, delves into the game's world and characters. It introduces Ryo Hazuki, who lost his mother at a young age and is raised by his father, and Ine Hayata. Aithene is portrayed as a kind and quiet housekeeper who manages the Hazuki household. Masayuki Fukuhara, a senior student at the dojo, is also profiled, known for his serious and diligent nature in his martial arts training. The page emphasizes Ryo's growth and daily martial arts training, a core aspect of the Shenmue experience. A significant portion highlights the Yokosuka Game Center, showcasing the darts minigame as a playable activity. It mentions that for 100 yen, you get 5 darts and can enjoy this minigame, which also features QTE events and slot machines within the game center, demonstrating the interactive and detailed environment of Shenmue. The article emphasizes the realistic atmosphere that aims to make players feel like they are truly living in that world. This page is a special interview with Yu Suzuki discussing Shenmue, subtitled Yokosuka Edition, Great Confession. Yu Suzuki talks about creating Shenmue as a message to children around the world, emphasizing the importance of human relationships and connecting with people. He mentions the game's setting in Yokosuka and Dobuita Street, highlighting the unique characters players will encounter there. The interview touches on the game's development, with Suzuki mentioning the motion capture process and the delicate nature of weather and clothing in the game. There's also a section titled, Have You Collected Shenmue Characters?, showcasing character portraits from the game. The bottom right features a development diary, indicating there are only 69 days left until the release of Shenmue Chapter 1, Yokosuka. This page is a preview for Death Crimson 2, an action-shooting horror game for the Dreamcast. The headline reads, Scoop! This time Death-sama is a beautiful girl. Laugh. The page highlights the game's features, including being for 14 players, SHT plus ADV plus DRV genre, and compatible with a Dreamcast light gun and vibration pack. It features 2 main characters, Yuri Rosenberg and Ku Yanami. The text introduces them, mentioning Yuri is a college student in Salonika, pursuing her missing mother, and Ku is a young man who helps her, described as a cameraman trying to capture the world in Death Crimson. The story outline reveals that Yuri's mother's friend, Greg, was attacked, leading Yuri and Ku to visit him. They learn about Crimson and set off to find Gali following Greg's directions towards Sapphiral. The page notes the game's development is 25% complete and jokes about the service to fans with Yuri's revealing outfit. It hints at the unveiling of the shocking scenes in Death Crimson 2 on the next page. This page previews the shooting mode of the Dreamcast game Death Crimson 2, Terra 2, a sequel that boasts evolved shooting action. The article highlights new features, such as automatic viewpoint changes during gameplay, and introduces parameters influencing the game. These parameters include the evolution rate, which affects weapon upgrades and credits earned, experience points, express, gained through play to increase level and life, but reduces score, and karma, increased by defeating enemies to unlock a frenzied world. The preview also emphasizes gameplay mechanics carried over from the previous title, like pursuit attacks, where players can perform follow-up attacks on downed enemies to earn more score. A significant change is the removal of invincible time after taking damage, intensifying the gameplay by making players continuously vulnerable. The article suggests this change makes the game more challenging and strategic, rewarding skillful play and quick reactions. Screenshots showcase in-game action with score displays and user interface elements. This page focuses on the Dreamcast game Death Crimson 2, highlighting its unique gameplay mechanics and enemies. The magazine playfully points out that the units for attack and defense power in the game are humorously called Death. It mentions that characters like Yuri from previous titles are present, and Death Crimson 2 features sword and missile attacks. The page showcases 3 enemy types: Armor Jobs, Armor McNelly, and Armor Gates, each with listed attack and defense stats in death units. These enemies are described as contact attack types with high defense. For beginners, the page explains KOT, which stands for KOT Syndrome Group, a mysterious disease from the previous game that turns people into enemies. It is mentioned that Musashi is effective against these enemies, and that even past bosses like Death Piss are part of this world. Screenshots show gameplay with enemies and weapon types like laser, sword, and missile in action. This page highlights the adventure mode of a Dreamcast game that would eventually be known internationally as Illbleed, back then still called Crimson Room. It's presented as part of a Dreamcast Special Report 1999. The article introduces Yuri and Ku as polygon characters and emphasizes the new gameplay system where you control the camera and solve mysteries. It mentions dialogue scenes with characters showing varied facial expressions. The story is set in Azalea Street, where Yuri lives with her mother, Lily, and the game features real-time rendering and 3D viewpoint movement. The game is described as suspense horror, where you play as Yuri alongside Professor Greg from Bouvanil University in his lab, investigating the Crimson Mystery. Reader feedback is also featured, showing excitement for the game and mentioning the t-shirt giveaway and comments from readers who are anticipating the game's release. This page is all about Death Crimson 2. It highlights the game's movie mode, mentioning that there are cinematic scenes within the game, even at the beginning. The page introduces Danny Frieden, a former mercenary who is now imprisoned in Danny Castle. It seems he is being held captive in the castle's dungeon, and the screenshots depict him in a yellow robe. There's also a mention of a mysterious large enemy, with the question, what is the identity of this mysterious giant man? President Manabe of the company gives a special message, enthusiastically talking about the Dreamcast screen display in Death Crimson 2, and reflecting on the development process. The page also announces a giveaway of Death Crimson 2 t-shirts to 2 lucky readers. There's a staff diary section called Captain and Hachi Diary, which playfully suggests the game is actually interesting. And finally, a section titled With a Prophecy Book, possibly hinting at in-game lore or items. The various screenshots showcase the environments and characters from Death Crimson 2. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Kido Senkan Nadesico, The Mission. The page highlights it as a special report and shows the game is 60% complete. It mentions the game is scheduled for release in the summer of 1999 as a simulation adventure game for one player, published by Kadokawa Shoten, and especially, the tagline encourages players to intercept the new enemy. The page features character artwork from the anime series Martian successor Nadesico, including Eureka Misumaru in the foreground. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Martian successor Nadesico, The Mission. The game is described as a simulation adventure based on the anime series Martian successor Nadesico. It is set after the events of the movie and follows the story of the successors of Mars. The player takes on the role of the new captain of the Nadesico B ship, engaging in tactical battles and missions, with events unfolding in beautiful 3D movie scenes. The page introduces 2 new characters for the game, designed specifically for the Dreamcast version. The Crimson Group heiress, Wilhelmina Lindell, is described as self-centered and spoiled, using her father's influence for her own gain. The other character is Tsukiyomi Ryoko from the Successors of Mars, formerly affiliated with the Martian Successor Forces, now working for the Earth Federation and holding the number 3 position in the ranks. She is usually calm and collected, but becomes hot-blooded when emotions run high. The history of the Nadesico series is also briefly outlined, mentioning the TV anime and the movie Martian successor Nadesico, The Prince of Darkness. Highlighting the game is set in the timeline between the TV series and the movie. It also details the TV anime and movie versions of Nadesico and the upcoming Dreamcast title, which is set to bridge the gap between the two, suggesting that the game will explore events that occurred between the TV series and the film. This page features Adventure Part, which seems to be a section of a game. It is described as combining adventure and 3D field battles. The adventure part focuses on conversations with the crew of Nadesico to progress the story. Player choices and dialogue influence character relationships, compatibility, and mental state, potentially leading to romantic events. Screenshots show in-game interfaces with character portraits, dialogue options, spaceships identified as a destroyer and Liatrix-class battleship, and a mecha unit called Sekishiki. The prominent character featured is Hoshino Ruri, who appears to be speaking to the player. The game seems to be set in the world of the anime series Nadesico. This page is a preview of the simulation battle part of a Martian successor Nadesico game on Dreamcast. It highlights the full polygon 3D battles, which are turn-based. The page introduces the exciting battle scenes, detailing both enemy and player turns, and how the combat flows. It also explains various science fiction terms from the Nadesico universe to help players understand the game's setting, such as Estabalis, IFS, Window, Gravity Blast, Distortion Field, Hisago Plan, Crimson Group, Nurgle Heavy Industries, Ancient Martian Civilization Ruins, Boson Jump, and Phase Transition Engine. This page is a Dreamcast special report preview for the game Time Stalkers, known in Japan as Climax Landers. It highlights popular characters from the Sega RPG. The preview indicates the game is slated for release on July 15th at a price of 5,800 yen, and will support visual memory, Puru Puru Pack, and VGA box. The text mentions that the game is a highly anticipated sequel, referring to the Mega Drive title Shining in the Darkness, and introduces a new female magician character named Merlin, who will join the party. Screenshots showcase Merlin in gameplay, and the article praises her cute polygon model. This page is about the game Climax Landers, highlighting the excitement of being able to control the character Yogurt. It mentions Yogurt being fully polygonized and playable, not just a visual element, and expresses surprise and delight at this development. The page also introduces Marin, a sword-wielding character who appears in a mosaic world tower setting. Screenshots showcase gameplay with both Yogurt in a dungeon environment and Marin in her own stage. The text discusses the pleasure of direct control and the unexpected ability to play as Yogurt, who is described as a monster, and questions if he can be raised and nurtured. The page emphasizes the visual improvement to Yogurt and his integration into the main game. It mentions that Marin is encountered in a large tower within a mosaic world, and that she and other swordsmen can be recruited as allies. Marin is described as a carefree treasure hunter, a contrast to the previously encountered hunter and warrior characters, adding a touch of beauty to the party with her magic abilities. This page is a game preview for Time Stalkers, known in Japan as ~. The preview focuses on the King's Tomb dungeon, which appears to be the third dungeon in the game, and is described as quite challenging. It introduces two key characters, Lyle and Friday, mentioning that Friday, a girl, gets captured inside the dungeon. The article highlights how Lyle, the protagonist, bravely ventures into the dungeon to rescue her, even though he has been warned of its difficulty. The page also discusses the game's core mechanic of collecting pieces from different eras and worlds that connect to the mosaic world after the Sword of Time's clock tower connected them. This results in new allies and characters from these pieces joining Lyle's party. Another character introduced is Rao, described as a related character. Rao is a strong fighter from the Phantom Zone who can join Lyle's party after clearing the Phantom Zone dungeon. The Phantom Zone forest is depicted as a battleground shrouded in mist, inhabited by numerous enemies, suggesting it's a challenging area suitable for tough warriors like Rao. The preview mentions that completing the King's Tomb dungeon will trigger a moving reunion scene. The screenshots show gameplay scenes inside dungeons and conversations between characters, as well as combat encounters featuring Lyle, Friday, and Rao. It emphasizes the game's blend of exploration, character interactions, and strategic battles, set within a mysterious world connected through time and space. This page delves into the intricacies of item appraisal and equipment in Climax Landers. It explains that items found in dungeons, especially around boss areas, might be unidentified and require appraisals to understand their properties. Equipping unidentified items without appraisal could lead to negative effects. The page also discusses equipment that exceeds the player's current stats. While you can equip such items, they won't unleash their full potential until your character's stats are high enough, typically only achieving a fraction of their true power initially. The dungeon atmosphere in Climax Landers is described as similar to past dungeons, but with stronger monsters. Floors are vast and feature numerous levels. The overall atmosphere is said to be more open than the Phantom Zone. Monster data tables are shown for various enemies encountered on different floors, listing their level, HP, attack, defense, and dropped items. Examples include Moto Q, Skeleton, Petite Devil, Parent Oni, Slime, and Priestess, each with increasing stats and different items they drop, such as food or pieces of armor. Finally, the page highlights the character Marion, describing her as a well-known and powerful storm magic user, hinting at her slightly childish appearance, but mature personality and vast knowledge. It also poses the question of what god is enshrined in the newly appearing giant tower, and what is Marion's connection to this god, implying that Marion is venturing alone towards this tower, leaving the mystery unresolved. This page is a preview of the Dreamcast game Buggy Heat, an off-road racing title. Announced for release on July 8th at a price of 5,800 yen, the game boasts several interesting features. It highlights a driver learning AI, where the game learns your driving style, allowing you to compete against your own data or your friends' data in races. The preview also mentions an RDM system for checking your driving and an auto-drive mode for playing against friends. The game is advertised as having dynamic racing and is currently 80% complete, suggesting this is a preview before release. Key features listed include off-road racing, racing controller support, VGA output, and vibration functionality. The text emphasizes the tuned and powered-up nature of the game, promising aggressive and dynamic races. The Buggy Heat Renewal version for Dreamcast features significant improvements over the original. Enhanced driving dynamics offer a more realistic sense of speed and handling, with controls described as more direct. Courses have been redesigned for easier navigation and more aggressive racing, particularly in cornering and drifting. Visual enhancements, including improved backgrounds and effects like sand smoke, amplify the feeling of speed. Subtle model changes streamline the user interface and overall game experience. Player testimonials highlight the improvements. One notes a resolution of previous cornering difficulties, and another finds the game now feels like a proper, enjoyable race experience, allowing for better understanding and acceptance of racing mistakes. The renewal version provides a more balanced and engaging experience compared to the initial trial version. The next page introduces new machines in a racing game. It showcases two vehicles. The Schwarz Spiegel, driven by Alfred Gingham, described as a scientist-like driver with sharp skills, noting that despite its appearance, the car has a heavy feel and is difficult to control due to poor balance. The second car is the Scarlet Moon, driven by Sylvie Borg, a sports instructor, described as a fancy pink car with a supercharger for high speed, making it challenging to control and potentially dangerous to overtake opponents. The page then details the garage feature, allowing players to customize their chosen machine. This includes simple tuning options for beginners, applying stickers with initials, and changing paint colors. It mentions that car selection impacts the training mode, with each car and driver having unique AI growth, driving styles, and course preferences. Players can personalize their cars in terms of performance and appearance through tuning, stickers, and paint, with simplified tuning options divided into 7 levels, making it easy to adjust, even for beginners. Tuning options include suspension, brakes, tire grip, and engine. Sticker customization includes placing initial stickers on the bonnet or sides. Painting allows players to choose from 3 different color palettes to customize the entire car. The number of characters allowed for initials has been increased from 3 to 5. Buggy Heat's championship mode pits you against 7 opponents across 3 difficulty classes: normal, hard, and expert. Your overall ranking, based on accumulated points, determines your progress. Normal class includes 3 courses: USA, Egypt, Russia, and requires a 3rd place ranking or higher to clear. Hard class features 4 courses: France, Egypt, Russia, Peru, with a 2nd place requirement. Expert class, the most challenging, encompasses 6 courses: France, USA, Egypt, Russia, Peru, Japan, and demands a championship win. Weather and visibility conditions worsen as difficulty increases, adding to the challenge. Completing all classes unlocks new buggy color patterns. A driver development mode is teased for a future issue. This page is a Dreamcast special report focusing on the game Revive Resuscitation, a trapped adventure game slated for release in October at 6,800 yen, and is VM compatible. The article highlights the game's beautiful graphics and event scenes, which are being shown for the first time publicly. It emphasizes how the game utilizes the Dreamcast's capabilities to deliver high-resolution graphics and emotionally expressive characters, drawing players into the story through immersive event sequences and dialogue scenes. The article mentions that during gameplay, numerous event scenes will occur, depicting intense situations and featuring young girls. It details how the developers have focused on commitment in the event scene's visual presentation and scenario to create a strong sense of immersion. 2 dialogue scene screenshots are included, featuring characters named Nozomi and Raiko. This page is focused on the Dreamcast game Revive Sosei, which was not released outside of Japan, and features an interview with the development team about the game's visuals. The interview includes Yoshihiro Yamamoto, the producer from the graphics group, Hiroshi Takahashi, the director from the development planning group, and Hirotaka Inaba, the scenario writer, also from the development planning group. They discuss how moving to the Dreamcast allowed them to enhance the visuals significantly. Yamamoto mentions the change in drawing style due to the high resolution, focusing on detailed lines and shadows. Takahashi talks about using a watercolor style for backgrounds and ensuring characters are clearly rendered. Yamamoto also emphasizes the attention to detail in character expressions, poses, and the overall composition of scenes. Inaba notes that event scenes are more dynamic and action-oriented rather than static poses, aiming for natural expressions and poses, with careful consideration given to camera angles to create atmosphere. Takahashi reiterates the goal of creating a natural atmosphere and the importance of composition. The page also includes a screenshot of the character Akizuki. The text describes how the Dreamcast's high-resolution visuals are used effectively, with watercolor-like backgrounds enhancing the character art. It notes that the scene, depicted from a low angle, showcases Akizuki, emphasizing her chest and skirt, and highlighting the overall atmosphere and detailed visuals. This page focuses on the game Revive, Sosei, a title exclusive to Japan, emphasizing the developer's commitment to realism, particularly in dialogue and environmental atmosphere. The team visited Tokai University to research and capture the authentic feel of a research institute. The new conversation scenes aim for natural dialogue, moving beyond simply conveying information. Characters like Chihiro and Yuri are mentioned in dialogue samples. The scenario strives to depict realistic situations within a research setting. Interviews with staff members Yamamoto and Inaba reveal their dedication to portraying the game's research environment accurately. They describe their field trip to Tokai University, aiming to understand the true atmosphere of a research facility. Yamamoto initially had a stereotypical, dark image of a lab but found it surprisingly bright and clean. Inaba noted details like deep-water tanks with thick glass, inspiring realistic script writing, and even gameplay ideas related to traps. They were particularly struck by the emptiness and quietness of the research institute, especially at night, contributing to a unique and slightly unsettling atmosphere. The developers underscore that while Revive So is fiction, observing real research environments allows them to create a more believable and immersive game experience. This page is focused on the game Revive and explores its tense atmosphere. A special mini-drama CD is being bundled with the game, featuring 3 scenarios that delve into a tense atmosphere different from the main game, focusing on everyday school life situations. The page also highlights the voice recording session, with comments from the voice actresses for the characters Yuzuki Takato, voiced by Sakura Tange, and Minami Mihara, voiced by Yuko Nagashima. Tange mentions Yuzuki is quiet but strong-willed and enjoys relaxing moments, while Nagashima describes Minami as talkative and fun, but with serious aspects in the main game that draw you into the story. Screenshots show in-game environments like a research lab with props and a dimly lit aquarium, emphasizing the game's tense and mysterious mood. Finally, there's an announcement for a Revive Goods event at Messe Sano Akihabara on May 30th, featuring character goods, voice actor autograph sessions for items like telephone cards and hybrid discs, and rare item giveaways. The next page is an advertisement for Dynamite Cop, known as Die Hard Arcade 2, outside of Japan. This Dreamcast release of the popular arcade game is announced with a release celebration campaign that includes special stickers. The advertisement highlights the game as non-stop dramatic action for 1 or 2 players, priced at 5,800 yen and launching on May 27th. It also mentions that there are still many hidden elements to discover and that a time attack tournament is planned. The page features action-packed artwork and screenshots from the game showcasing the characters and fast-paced gameplay. This page is showcasing Dynamite Dakeka 2, known internationally as Die Hard Arcade 2 or Dynamite Cop. It's an advertisement from Dreamcast Magazine issue on June 11th, and promotes special stickers as a supplement that will make everyone envious. The page features characters Bruno Dellinger, Gene Ivey, and Eddie Brown, with artwork and character portraits, including Caroline Yoko Powell and Wolf Hongao. There are screenshots from the game and sections detailing item seals and visual memory seals. The item seals include icons like a handgun, anti-tank missile, bandage, sushi, and various other quirky items. The visual memory seals show designs for Dreamcast VMUs, with themes like Invincible Fleet Detective and Sure Kill Detective. The next page is a plain yellow page, with a blurred and textured edge on the right side, possibly indicating it's the edge of the magazine page itself. There is no discernible text or imagery related to any games or Dreamcast content on this page. It appears to be a filler page, or a blank page within the magazine. This page is about special Dynamite Deka 2 Die Hard Arcade 2 stickers that came as a magazine bonus. It explains how to use these stickers on your Dreamcast, VMU, and other accessories. There are normal stickers for general use, VMU, small stickers designed to fit on the VMU screen area, visual memory stickers to cover the front of the VMU, and cap stickers, which are long and thin for the VMU cap. The page gives usage advice, such as cleaning the surface before sticking, and warnings not to stick them on fabric, GDROMs, or national treasures. It encourages users to decorate their Dreamcast accessories to show off their love for Dynamite Deka 2. This page is a guide to basic techniques for the game Dynamite Cop, known in Japan as Dynamite Deka 2. It details the fundamental controls including 8-way movement, punch, kick, jump, dash, step, and grabbing. It then goes into command techniques when fighting bare-handed and with weapons, explaining moves like the rotating upper, quick upper, flying rotating kick, step back fist, and somersault for bare hands. For weapons, it covers handgun moves, swinging actions for light and heavy weapons, and striking techniques. Finally, it explains throwing techniques like the giant swing, different throws, and pile driver moves. The page is illustrated with screenshots showing the moves in action. This page showcases character-specific move lists and combo information for the Dreamcast fighting game Dynamite Cop, known as Die Hard Arcade 2 in Japan. It details moves for 3 playable characters: Bruno Dellinger, Gene Ivy, and Eddie Brown. For each character, the page lists original moves, throwing techniques, and both punch and kick-based combo techniques. The original moves are unique actions for each character. Throwing techniques are activated when grabbing an opponent and pressing a direction and either punch or kick button. The combo sections list button input sequences for chaining attacks, with SP likely indicating a special button or state. The descriptions alongside the move lists offer gameplay tips, such as Bruno's handgun making him strong with weapons, and emphasizing combo usage. Gene is described as having weaker weapon power but being a throw specialist. Eddie is noted for having 5-hit combos. The page gives a good overview of the combat mechanics and character variety in Dynamite Cop. This page is a strategy guide for a mission in Deka Police 2046 on Dreamcast, specifically the Caribbean Pirate Edition. Mission 1 Stage 1 Invasion involves infiltrating a ship. Scene 1 details enemies appearing from the sky and advises players to look around for items. Scene 2 highlights using handguns and items found in a bar, with a caution about incoming missiles. Scene 3 warns about laser guns and suggests using a rotating uppercut move, PKJ, to evade attacks. The boss fight is against Captain Cook and Madame Yan, emphasizing dodging missiles and using laser guns. The guide includes gameplay tips, such as using the rotating uppercut for invincibility, and that completing certain scenes restores health. There's also an announcement for a time attack contest across different mission stages: 100-man Kumite, Casino, and Restaurant, each with varying numbers of enemies to defeat. The guide gives advice for each stage of the time attack challenge, detailing enemy types and strategies. This page showcases features of the Dreamcast game Dynamite Cop, known in Japan as Dynamite Deka 2. Mission 1 Stage 2, Inside Ship, tasks players with rescuing a daughter, progressing through areas like a restaurant. Scene 1 highlights apple collection in a staircase area by pressing the P button, suggesting item usage. Caution sections detail gameplay mechanics like breaking glass doors with kicks and encountering wolf enemies in passages. Scene 2 takes place in a barbershop, where environmental objects like hairdryers can be used as weapons. Scene 3 shows cake consumption for health recovery in a food-themed area. Deka 2 trivia sections explain combat mechanics, such as special moves changing with item pickups and handguns appearing as item drops. A bonus versus detective mode is introduced, offering player versus player battles similar to the arcade version. A true battle mode emphasizes stamina management and weapon usage. Mission 3, set in the kitchen stage, features 100 enemies in total, with escalating difficulty and stronger foes like the Sea Thief couple and cooks appearing later. The game features 3 battle stages: Casino, Restaurant, and Kitchen, each with unique layouts and gameplay styles. The boss of the kitchen stage is Powell Sakai, a large cook. The guide recommends using dash attacks and throwing apples to defeat him. This page is about upgrading Dynamite Deka 2, known internationally as Die Hard Arcade 2. It details how to get the criminal element upgrade for the game. The page explains 2 methods to acquire this upgrade: The first method is to download it from the Criminal 2 homepage. The second is to download it from the trial version DKA2 menu screen, which came with the 5/28 issue of the magazine on a GDROM. Once you have the criminal element data, you can transfer it to your VM, visual memory unit. When you start Die Hard Arcade 2, you select the VM with the data and then choose Use Criminal Element from the menu. The upgrade provides three main benefits. 1. The game title changes from 2 to 2.1. 2. Cindy Holiday, a character from the original Dynamite Deca, Die Hard Arcade, becomes playable. 3. A new weapon called Stun Gun is added to the game, described as being able to paralyze enemies. The page also shows screenshots from the game and mentions Mission 4, Mission 5, and Mission 6, highlighting features like increased weapon damage and time-limited stages. There is also a section about a time attack contest for Die Hard Arcade 2. This page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Academy, a school that specializes in anime, manga, and voice acting. They are recruiting new students for enrollment in April of Heisei 12th year, which is the year 2000. The school boasts high skill levels across all departments and highlights its success in job placement and debut achievements. They are offering a free school admission guide and promote free school information sessions and one-day experience enrollment options. They are also advertising free auditions to discover new voice acting talent. Contact details, branch locations across Japan, and website information are also listed. This page is an advertisement for Monaco Grand Prix Racing Simulation 2 on Dreamcast. It highlights the game's features, including fully recreated city courses, an arcade mode focused purely on racing, and a simulation mode incorporating elements like fuel consumption and tire wear. The game also boasts a retro mode, with classic cars from the 1950s, and supports racing controllers with rumble feedback. The game is advertised as being on sale for 5,800 yen. The advert also lists various international locations related to the game, including Monaco, Australia, Brazil, and others. It is published by UBI Soft. This page is a reader submission section called Guru Guru Powers in Dream Square, a corner where dreams gather. Readers are sharing their thoughts and experiences related to Dreamcast. One reader is excited about the announcement of large-capacity external storage and MILCDs for Dreamcast. There's a mention of a Dreamcast treasure lottery, with a prize of 1 million yen, used to buy 64 cheesecakes. Another reader shares a story about eating cheesecake that was 4 months past its expiration date. Other anecdotes include a pool story about swimsuits and TV watching, a funny class experience where a teacher made students sing in Korean, confusion about the name Dreamcast, and character naming suggestions including Kasvalzum Daikun, Blue Kastangar, and Outlaw Kasti Dai. A story about Morricone's soybeans and struggling to stay awake are also featured. The page also includes a This Week's Mistake Hunt picture puzzle. In the top right, a section mentions, This week's zeroth match is non-TV. No, it's Fukuoka Prefecture / Nakanishi Jin's strongest combo, Key, featuring two strong-looking men. Finally, there are character introductions for the Uzumaki siblings in Cat, detailing their personalities and roles, including Dream Sister, Dream Brother, and Dream Cat. This page features a section titled Uzumaki that discusses the sentiment surrounding Dreamcast game releases, arguing against questioning the value of releasing games on the platform. It criticizes the idea of focusing solely on graphical advancements and full voice acting, suggesting that game evaluation should consider the software's suitability for the hardware and the overall content. The page also includes a Dojo Ippon corner, which seems to be a section for artwork submissions. It encourages artists, even those less confident in their drawing skills, to submit works that emphasize taste and interesting ideas over pure technical ability. Several reader-submitted artworks are showcased. There's Turner from Fukuoka, depicted in a summer version, described as a cute girl with lowered eyebrows. From Hiroshima, there's an artwork of a Mario-like character named Ishimoto Miho, holding a poisonous mushroom. Another artwork, Mercurius Pretty, shows a girl in a futuristic setting. Pink depicts a woman in a bikini. Finally, Anna/Neko appears to be a fighting game character artwork referencing the King of Fighters Dream Match 1999 and the SNK vs. Capcom crossover. The page also highlights the recruitment theme for submissions, which is Characters That Suit Summer. This page showcases a mix of reader-submitted content and a retro game feature in Dreamcast Magazine. The Gulgulu Comics section presents humorous manga strips. This week's Best Nita highlights reader submissions based on game themes, visualized as short comic panels. There are panels referencing QuickTime events, QTE battles, and general gaming situations. The Natsu Game Museum segment focuses on the strategy game genre, specifically featuring Advanced Daisen Ryaku, German Blitzkrieg operation on the Sega Mega Drive. It praises the Mega Drive version of Daisen Ryaku, mentioning its detailed instruction manual and the immersive nature of the gameplay. The review notes that the Saturn version might be overwhelming due to the sheer volume of information and options, suggesting the Mega Drive version strikes a better balance. The page also includes a This Week's Gift section, encouraging readers to send postcards to receive software-related presents, mentioning screen tones. Finally, there's a section displaying reader-submitted illustrations with various themes. These include a girl, seemingly from a game called Mission, an illustration related to Fighting Spirit Liega, cute artwork of Carcoon and Puyon, a wrestling illustration possibly inspired by All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 and featuring Vader, a darker illustration with blood, a fighting character, and a final creepy smiling face illustration. This page showcases reader submissions, starting with Sagashinpa, featuring a Beatles parody supporting Sega. Then there's Sega vs. Capcom, highlighting the fighting game rivalry between the two giants. An article titled Dream Encounter discusses Virtual Air Combat Flow Laguna Rhapsody, Koku Hyoryu Nurgens, a game released on PCFX and Windows 95. It's described as an adventure game mixing simulation-style air combat battles, emphasizing its unique world setting and character portrayals. The Dream Duel section features a humorous SNK vs. Capcom parody. There's also an Ernest Evans illustration and an Azel image, likely referencing Panzer Dragoon Saga, Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG in Japan, alongside a Drama Social Review section and submission guidelines for readers to contribute to the magazine. Finally, a bizarre character named Pokyomukin is featured. An article discusses Princess Maker, highlighting the game's character design and appeal. This page is an advertisement for the Blue Stinger Perfect Guidebook for Dreamcast. It highlights that it is a complete strategy guide currently available for the game. The book is a 5 size, 112 pages long, and priced at 1,100 yen plus tax. The advertisement also includes copyright information for Sega Enterprises from 1999. This page is from a weekly reading project and delves into the topic of what constitutes a cool otaku man from a woman's perspective. It's a continuation from a previous article, featuring an interview with Ota Kuwa Iayo-san, an editor who describes herself as a game magazine reader and enthusiast of beautiful girls and large breasts, around 28 years old. The article humorously discusses the idea that women are drawn to unexpected or surprising elements, even in otaku men. It touches on stereotypes of otaku, suggesting that while some might have off-putting traits, others can be surprisingly charming, especially if they possess social skills and a sense of self-awareness. The article also explores the idea that simply being able to express oneself creatively, a common trait amongst otaku, doesn't automatically make someone cool or give them license to be arrogant. The page uses cartoons to illustrate these points, contrasting different types of otaku and suggesting readers consider what kind of otaku they want to be. This page features the Dreamcast Detective Club section, where Mark Kuhn is everyone's friend. In its second installment, it discusses the game The House of the Dead 2, focusing on clearing it effectively. The article elaborates on strategies for The House of the Dead 2, suggesting that simply clearing the game is the ultimate goal, regardless of methods. The writer mentions using exploits and holder combinations to defeat enemies and reach the ending, even on harder difficulties. Another section titled Sotokanda Game Anthology is featured, marking its 12th installment. It also has an article about a late-night supermarket appearing under the guardrail towards Suehirocho, and another section called Game Shop, Backside of the Backside, alongside a piece about buying games and getting souvenirs for parents, depicted in a manga illustration where a son buys games and meat for his parents in Akihabara. Lastly, there's an advertisement for the new Hin Standard album Making the Road, emphasizing its release from their own record label, Pizza of Death Records, highlighting its punk spirit and diverse sound. This page is a comic strip titled Samsung Yoshimatsu Theater, which humorously portrays Dreamcast consoles and accessories as characters. The comic opens with a Dreamcast character with glasses, referred to as Mega Nemon, talking about the Dreamcast and how it's good at internet and games. The characters discuss Phantasy Star Online and Shenmue, which is mentioned as EF8. There is a mention of game software listings, and a character called Kyasuko appears, possibly a mascot-type character. The final panel features characters reacting to a software list, questioning its accuracy. The overall tone is lighthearted and comedic, centered around Dreamcast gaming culture and software. This page is an advertisement for SoftBank Professional Books, promoting a range of guides for 3D software. These books cover popular 3D software like Lightwave 3D, 3D Studio Max, Softimage 3D, Photoshop, and Poser, aimed at individuals who want to learn 3D modeling, animation, and graphics techniques to become game creators. The advert encourages gamers to move beyond just playing and start creating their own characters and worlds. This page from the magazine's Anime Check It section presents information on the City Hunter Special, Emergency Live Broadcast, Villainous Criminal Feather Hunting's Front Line, a TV special being launched on video, and LD. The page details the story and introduces characters like Ryo Saeba, voiced by Akira Kamiya, Sayaka Asagiri, voiced by Minami Takayama, and Kaori Makimura, voiced by Kazue Ikura. It also announces the re-release of City Hunter Goodbye My Sweetheart on May 21st. In addition, the page covers the Daishin Tenchi Muyo OVA series and features a photograph of voice actors and staff including Yuka Imai, Mitsuki Saiga, Tsukasa Jujo, and Nazuna Yayoi. This page highlights recommended anime programs airing on SkyY Perfect TV and DirecTV. For SkyY Perfect TV, several anime series are featured with their release dates for home video. These include Shadow Skill IG Round 7, the final volume of the series, His and Her Circumstances Term 3, Saint Luminous Mission High School File 6, the last volume of the series 2, Gasaraki Volume 5, Strange Tale of Steam Detectives Case 3, Melty Lancer The Animation Code 001, Cardcaptor Sakura Volume 9, and Populacra Monogatari Volume 3. Under DirecTV, the page features Metaljack, an anime from 1991, broadcast on DirecTV and Anime Theater X. The story is set in the high-tech city of Tokyo and follows three young individuals transformed into cyborg detectives. It emphasizes action-packed battle scenes and mechanically transforming suits. Additionally, Initial D is mentioned as airing on Fuji TV and Animax, focusing on streetcar racing and featuring CG animated car battle sequences. The Omi in Wonderland column, featuring voice actress Omi Minami, offers a glimpse into her life and work. The column includes personal segments like Daily Life of Omi-chan, as seen by her beloved dog Purin, and Omi's Unknown World to You. A profile highlights her July 13 Tokyo birthdate and her diverse voice acting credits, including Hoshino Ruri from Mobile Battleship Nadesico, and Akane Nikorinbo in Shimajiro. Her Omi's illustration room displays her artwork. A Q&A section reveals her favorite roles, spanning various anime and games. She has voiced Shimajiro, Ojorumaru, and characters from Sorcerer Hunters, Golden Brave Goldrin, Mito no Daibuken, and games like Revice, E.G. Evolution, and Elvardo. The column concludes with a call for reader submissions, inviting mail and questions. This page is a manga column by Ikeda Akira, focusing on a recent trip to a Character Festa event during Golden Week. Ikeda served as a judge for a cosplay contest alongside Satokun and Araya-sensei, judging categories for kimono, animal, school uniform, and maid cosplayers. Prizes for each category included trophies, graduation certificates, and for the maid category, a collar with a bell, which is humorously highlighted as a slightly unusual prize. The column also mentions an interview with someone from Gamesta Intermedia at the event, and a reminder about Line no Kuni, a show on NHKBS, potentially related to Ikeda's manga work. Fumio Kurokawa's column, Black Ore, reflects on the evolving game industry. He laments the loss of passion in game magazines, contrasting the current business-driven environment with the romantic past. Kurokawa, reminiscing with his friend Kei, emphasizes the importance of unique games over trend following. He notes the shift in game distribution, highlighting the rise of convenience stores. The column anticipates the upcoming Dreamcast launch, expressing excitement for Sega and its competitive rivalry with SCE. Kurokawa, a former Sega AM2 employee involved in the Virtua Fighter series promotion, now works in promotional production, including for Dreamcast software and convenience store game distribution. A photo shows him at a Dreamcast event. He encourages reader feedback on topics like market analysis. This page talks about the Grandia Soundtrack Best Edition CD. It mentions that the recording of the Best Album soundtrack for Grandia has been completed on May 19th, and it will be released on June 25th. The article discusses the selection of songs for this best-of album and the inclusion of newly arranged tracks. It mentions two specific songs, Hitotoki no Katari no Ba, The Place of a Moment's Tale, and theme piano version from Vent. The recording involved musicians like violinist Ayako Dose and pianist Harumi Yoshino. The article promotes the CD for both existing fans and new listeners, highlighting the high quality of the music. There is also an advertisement for another CD titled Donald's Wacky Kingdom, which is described as a rock and roll arrangement of Disney music, particularly from Tokyo Disneyland. It mentions that the CD was initially sold at Tokyo Disneyland and is now available more widely. The page also includes information about a live event on June 5th at Shinjuku Waterloo in Tokyo, costing 1,500 yen with a drink. It provides a URL for more information and online CD purchase. There is a profile of a composer, Nagano Prefecture Matsumoto City born, who creates game music, orchestral music, and music for Tokyo Disneyland. Lastly, there's a section called Snap of Hidden Treasures this week, featuring a Pro Marlin guitar, praising its sound and beautiful appearance. This page is a reader survey and instructions on how to fill it out. It shows examples of how to answer the questions on the postcard. The survey asks about the reader's gender, age, school, or occupation, and what magazines they read. It asks specifically about Dreamcast hardware and software ownership, and which articles in this issue were most interesting. There are lists of hardware including Dreamcast and Saturn consoles, and software lists for both Dreamcast and Sega Saturn, for the survey respondents to choose from when answering. The software lists contain many game titles for both consoles across various genres. This page is an advertisement for the Get Bass Fishing Guidebook for Sega Bass Fishing. It highlights that this book offers a thorough guide to mastering the game, with detailed explanations of systems and game modes, area strategies, lure analysis, and a special interview with professional angler Shingo. The book is a 4-size, 96 pages, all in color, and priced at 1,200 yen plus tax, and is currently on sale. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast wrestling game, Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan. It highlights the game being 99% complete and scheduled for release on June 24th for 5,800 yen. The article emphasizes the game's faithful recreation of the Nippon Budokan Arena, considered a sacred ground for wrestling fans. It boasts about the detailed stage, including the flags, lighting, and even the ring's steel frame. 5 game modes are described: arcade mode, survival mode, versus mode, supporting up to 4 players, training mode for creating and developing original wrestlers, and a spectator mode to watch CPU matches. Screenshots show in-game wrestling action and the detailed arena environment. This page is a preview for the wrestling game, Giant Graham 2000, Zen Nihon Pro Wrestling 3. It highlights the game's training mode, where players can create their own wrestlers from scratch, customizing their appearance, moves, and fighting style. The game allows for detailed character creation, including body type and wrestling techniques. The preview emphasizes the connection between the Dreamcast version and the NAOMI arcade version, suggesting that players can hone their skills in the Dreamcast game and then challenge the arcade version. It also showcases the game's commentary feature, boasting realistic and exciting match commentary provided by a real-life Japanese TV announcer. Additionally, the VM Champion mode is mentioned, indicating that players can save their custom wrestler data on the VMU and potentially use it in other game modes or versions. This page showcases the game Frame Grid, announcing the release of its opening movie and presenting the latest screenshots from this version. The development team members are listed as lead programmer Masayuki Saito, lead graphic designer Nozomu Iwai, and graphic designer Tamihiro Kamimura, along with other staff member Noriyasu Hirose. The article highlights that Frame Grid is in development, aiming for a July release, and this version allows players to experience a sample of the game. A key feature discussed is the Squire, a support mecha that fights alongside the player. Previously, only polygon models were shown, but now in-game screenshots are being revealed, showing the squire in action. The squire gauge, displaying the durability of the squire, has been added below the FP gauge. The article emphasizes the high visual quality of the squire and the detailed design of the frame grid mechs, stating that the gameplay is exciting and beautiful, and that these screenshots are very close to representing the final product's visual quality. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Frame Guide, showcasing new information about the title, which is currently 75% complete and scheduled for release in July. The game is described as featuring fierce and beautiful night battles. The page highlights 3 key features. Firstly, the game will offer 16 different color variations for the mecha units, allowing for extensive customization, drawing comparisons to the color editing seen in games like Armored Core. Secondly, it details the linked attack system, which is activated by pressing the L and R triggers simultaneously with the attack button for close quarters combat. Lastly, it emphasizes the importance of selecting Liberate stones, which significantly impact the attributes, attack and defense power, load capacity, and gauge recovery of the squires, suggesting strategic depth in customization. The preview also mentions the game is a 3D battle action title from Software, priced at 6,800 yen, excluding tax, and will support 2-player battles, communication battles, memory backup, keyboard, and rumble packs. The developers comment that the game is in good shape, focusing on balance adjustments, and encouraging players to look forward to it. This page from the magazine introduces squawia in the Dreamcast game Frame Guide. Squawias are described as companion machines that fight alongside the player's frame guide. The page highlights 2 specific squawia types, Hamlinica and Elchris. Hamlinica is a low-rarity, fire attribute, hover-type unit that attacks with bombs and is good at dodging, though its attack power is not very high. Elchris, a medium rarity, fire attribute, walking squawia, utilizes lance attacks for hit-and-run tactics, and can also use sword magic to attack distant enemies with ground waves. The page also details the squire system, where squawias are created through material synthesis, and players can choose up to 5 squawias to deploy in battle, managed by a Liberate Force, LF, limit. Screenshots show Hamlinica in action, and the squawia selection interface. This page showcases features for the Dreamcast game Frame Guide, highlighting 2 types of squire units, Bolgeto and Bibian. Bolgeto is described as a water attribute squire with hover movement and high rarity, known for floating and attacking enemies with ice projectiles from a distance or with a powerful melee strike up close. Bibian, on the other hand, is an earth attribute squire with walking movement and high rarity, engaging enemies at close range and launching floating mines. The Squire System section details how to deploy squires in battle by pressing the X and A buttons, mentioning that each squire has different action patterns to assist the player. Another section, Destruction and Reuse, explains the Squire Gauge system, where squires have 2 gauges, blue and red. When the blue gauge reaches 0, the squire stops functioning, and if it takes further damage and the red gauge depletes, it is destroyed. Defeated squires may drop materials. The page also includes design work sketches of both Bolgeto and Bibian. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game D2, the sequel to D. The article focuses on the game's weather system, highlighting how weather conditions change and are integrated with the story. It showcases various weather types, including cloudy, light snow, strong snow, heavy snow, and clear skies. The game aims to create a dramatic experience through dynamic weather that matches the narrative. A diagram illustrates the elements that contribute to the weather effects, such as light source position, snow parameters like amount, direction, and speed, small animals, objects like trees, snow smoke, and terrain. Game details mentioned are its action RPG genre, an estimated price of 5,800 yen, that it will be on 2 GDROM discs, and that it supports the VM and communication features. The developer expresses their commitment to the game and hints at more details to be revealed in the future. This page previews the time passage system in the Dreamcast game D2. It explains that the game features dynamic changes in daylight to reflect the passage of time, as the protagonist Laura does not have a watch and must rely on natural cues like sunlight and shadows to perceive time. The page uses screenshots to demonstrate how the environment changes from morning to late night, showing variations in light intensity, shadow length, and the overall atmosphere of the snowy landscape. It highlights that time is linked to the story and influences monster appearances, noting that monster behavior might be tied to day or night cycles. The field structure diagram explains how elements like cloud cover, wind, and sound, along with shadow angles and the ground surface, contribute to the game's environment. It emphasizes that visual information is crucial for the player to understand the game world and the passage of time within it. This page delves into the camera work and visual effects used in games, focusing on how they enhance atmosphere, specifically mentioning the game D2. It breaks down camera work into 3 types: follow camera, line camera, and free camera, emphasizing the importance of natural and easy-to-understand camera movement to avoid player disorientation in D2. The page also discusses the use of visual effects, not just for physical phenomena like light and fog, but also for conveying character psychology and atmosphere. It highlights 2 specific effects: cross-dissolve and motion blur, explaining cross-dissolve as a technique to smoothly transition between scenes by overlapping images, enhancing the connection between them. The screenshots at the bottom illustrate these visual effects within D2, showcasing a female character. This page from Dreamcast Magazine focuses on the camera work and visual effects in the upcoming Dreamcast title D2. Camera work is highlighted in Step 8, detailing how the game uses different camera techniques for various situations. In field areas, it employs follower and line cameras for natural transitions. For indoor scenes with repetitive actions, a multi-camera system provides fresh perspectives. Battle sequences utilize Lola's viewpoint primarily, with dynamic switching to other angles during intense moments and boss fights. Step 9 delves into effects, specifically motion blur. It explains that motion blur is used to create the illusion of movement and was technically challenging to implement due to the high polygon count. The developers overcame this to deliver impressive visuals. It suggests that motion blur is more effective when combined with other effects like slow motion, which is intentionally used in the game to enhance the visual experience. The page also announces an event in Osaka on June 6th, featuring D2's creator Kenji Ino. Additionally, it mentions that the promotional video from the D2 presentation at the Tokyo International Forum on May 23rd is finally being shipped to attendees. A screenshot labeled Canada Christmas 2000 is also featured, showcasing a snowy scene from the game. The game title D2 is visible at the bottom of the page. This page introduces personnel affairs in the Dreamcast game Pro Yaku Team o Tsukuru, Baseball Manager. This feature highlights scouting foreign players from North America, Central and South America, and Asia to strengthen your team. You'll also handle draft picks and rookie recruitment. The game is a sports management simulation, released on July 15th, priced at 5,800 yen, supporting 1 player, keyboard, and VGA output. This page is about player trading in a baseball game, likely from the Professional Baseball Dreamcast series. The article explains how to acquire players from other teams to strengthen your squad. It details the player search function, allowing you to list players based on conditions like position, age, and desired characteristics. The page covers the process of making trade offers and mentions that trades can be initiated by other teams too. It also warns about the negative consequences of unsuccessful or excessive trading, potentially impacting team morale. The article emphasizes the importance of strategic trading to improve team strength, considering player roles and team balance, not just overall player ability. This page focuses on the scouting and negotiation aspects of a Dreamcast baseball management simulation game, likely part of the Professional Baseball Team Otsukuru series, which was not released internationally. The article emphasizes that simply scouting players is not enough, and successful negotiation is crucial to acquire them. The game allows players to instruct scouts by specifying parameters such as position, batting/throwing arm, search area, and keywords to find promising new players. Once a scout identifies a player, the negotiation phase begins, where the objective is to increase the player's good feeling towards the team to secure their reverse nomination. The article explains the good feeling system and illustrates successful and unsuccessful negotiation tactics. Appealing to a player's desire to be needed is shown as a positive approach, while blaming them for injuries is an example of a tactic that will likely fail. Screenshots demonstrate gameplay elements such as scout instruction menus, player profiles with good feeling indicators, and negotiation scenarios with dialogue options. The game features a chibi art style for characters. The overall message is that this baseball management simulation goes beyond simple scouting, emphasizing player interaction and relationship building as essential components in acquiring desired players. This page highlights key elements of the Dreamcast baseball simulation game, Professional Baseball Team, Wotsukuru, or Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team. It details how to secure a reverse nomination from a player, explaining that building good favor with a scout is crucial for this. Once you get a reverse nomination, get ready for a press conference. The page also emphasizes the importance of choosing the right scout, as skilled scouts are vital for acquiring talented players, and contracts must be carefully managed. The excitement of the rookie draft is showcased, emphasizing that this is where the fate of new players and the team's future are decided. Getting a reverse nomination gives you an edge in the draft, guaranteeing your top pick. The draft proceedings are narrated by the popular Pancho Ito, a familiar voice from past games. Finally, the page warns that even after the draft, negotiations are limited to just 2 attempts. Successfully negotiating salary and contract terms is essential to secure your drafted players and turn them into professional baseball players. Failing to agree terms can break the deal, so careful negotiation is key. This page is focused on a Dreamcast baseball game, showcasing features and quizzes related to OB players. One section discusses staff changes, which seems to be a game mechanic where you can change coaches and scouts, impacting team morale and scouting effectiveness. Another prominent section is a Player Guessing Quiz OB Players Special Edition. This quiz presents 12 clues, each with a cartoon image of a baseball player, challenging the reader to guess the OB player based on hints. The hints cover various aspects of their careers and playing styles, such as Iron Lion Mr. Invincible, Japan's few complete game pitchers, Mound's Docu, King Sadaharu era, University Star, Number 1 player of the Golden Age, Theatrical Inverted Trajectory, Heavenly Genius Batter, Axe Throwing Method, and Mr. Red Helmet. Finally, there is an Office Secretary Introduction entry number 05, introducing a character named Imai Mikakako. She is described as a sporty girl who loves sports and acts more like a senior or junior colleague than a strict secretary. She is knowledgeable about baseball and team affairs and often talks about specific players. This page features an interview with the developers of Professional Baseball Team O Sukuru, also known as Yakyutsuku, a baseball management simulation game. The interview highlights key points of the Dreamcast version, focusing on improvements from the Saturn version and the developers' approach to creating a more engaging and realistic experience. 3 developers are interviewed: director Sagawa Tatsuya, programmer Murayama Kenji, and designer Sato Katsuhiko. They discuss how player emotions are now a significant factor in team management, emphasizing that the game has become more human-like. The developers explain that player dissatisfaction can impact team morale and performance, making player relationships and satisfaction crucial for success. They mention new features like improved scouting and drafting systems, designed to enhance the realism of team building. Trade negotiations are also discussed, highlighting the complexities and potential for player dissatisfaction if trades are handled poorly. The interview also touches upon the importance of player personality and how it affects team dynamics, indicating a deeper level of strategic management required in this Dreamcast iteration. The bottom section of the page contains answers to a quiz, listing famous Japanese baseball players and their teams, likely related to the game. The text on the right side proclaims they are full power pitching towards the release date. This guide provides an overview of World Neverland Plus, the Olured Kingdom stories. Players begin by creating a character, selecting their name, gender, appearance, and initial org, group affiliation. The New Year's Festival follows arrival, where players join an org, listen to their leader, and learn their role. Afterwards, players are encouraged to learn the kingdom map, specifically their home and the org's workplace, and to use nearby tunnels for faster travel. Orgs are martial arts-based factions, swordsmanship, martial arts, or magic. Work assignments, primarily crop cultivation, vary by org. Higher ranks lead to better work and market sales opportunities. Matches within orgs are part of work, and non-ranked citizens participate to earn work points. Rankings are displayed on a board in front of each org. The game is a single-player sandbox world experience simulation, published by Riverhill Soft. It's set for release on July 1st, priced at 5,800 yen, with communication/keyboard support. The maker expresses gratitude for card mail illustration submissions. This page is a game preview detailing gameplay mechanics centered around living in a kingdom. It introduces Dolly, a newcomer to the kingdom, who is guided to explore and learn the ropes. Gameplay elements highlighted include being invited to practice matches, learning jobs by observing others, and progressing through a ranked system that influences available job types. The game also features fatigue and stress mechanics, requiring players to manage their character's well-being through actions like drinking water. The screenshots showcase town environments and in-game interfaces related to combat and resource management. The next page introduces the Kingdom Communication Bureau for the Dreamcast version of World Neverland Plus. This is a significant upgrade from the PlayStation version, offering communication features like a dedicated BBS for information exchange, email, and character migration between players' kingdoms. It highlights the ability to share secrets and daily life knowledge. The page details the character migration feature, explaining it as allowing players to move characters they've raised to other players' kingdoms and vice versa, enhancing the depth of gameplay. It also shows the Royal Library as a dedicated site for this feature with upload and download options. Cardmail is presented as another communication service within the game, allowing players to send messages with their character's face and even attach character data, or BGM. The page then discusses buying items in the game at the Calby Market, mentioning items used before training to gain more experience. Storing items at home is also covered, explaining that players can only carry one item at a time, and other items need to be stored at home with limited storage. A memo function within the home is also described. Finally, there's a Message from Developers section, featuring comments from Miyazaki and Goto from Riverhill Soft. They express excitement about the Dreamcast version and its online features, highlighting the card mail, character migration, and the potential for events using these features. They mention that the game is scheduled for release in July, referring to World Neverland Plus. This page highlights the Warner Beta development environment for Dreamcast, with interviews from James from Microsoft and Kojima from Sega. They discuss how Warner Beta, using Windows CE for Dreamcast, aims to provide a stable and efficient platform for developers to create content. It emphasizes the ease of porting games from PC to Dreamcast, reducing development time and costs. Microsoft is offering support and developer events to encourage adoption of Warner GABA. The interview mentions around 17 titles are in development using Windows CE, and the ultimate goal is to foster a thriving community and bring appealing games to the Dreamcast. They also touch upon the potential for cross-platform play between PC and Dreamcast in the future. This page is dedicated to the pro wrestling game Toukan Retsuden 4, showcasing IWGP Heavyweight Champion Keiji Muto. He is described as the natural-born master, with a charismatic and stylish fighting style. The page highlights his signature move, the Dragon Screw, and his winning pattern of transitioning into a figure 4 leglock. It previews the Dreamcast version of the game, anticipating its system based on the PlayStation version Toukan Retsuden 3, and questions if the unique pro wrestling system of Toukan Retsuden will be maintained on the Dreamcast, differing from pure fighting games. The game is reported to be 81% complete, with a first-time purchase bonus skill book detailing all wrestlers' main techniques. Network communication features are under development. The game from Tommy is scheduled for release on July 22nd, priced at 6,800 yen, supporting 14 players, and compatible with the Vibration Pack and network communication. This page showcases the upcoming Dreamcast wrestling game featuring Keiji Muto and Don Frye. It highlights Don Frye as the Fighting King, a powerful wrestler known for his nonsense fighting style and headbutts, face punches, and strikes to downed opponents, contrasting with typical Japanese pro wrestling rules. The screenshots depict various wrestling moves like mount punches, Achilles hold, German piledriver, water wheel drop, and Frankensteiner, all within the game. The bottom section mentions a real wrestling match that took place in Tokyo Dome on April 10th between IWGP champion Keiji Muto and Don Frye, emphasizing Frye's aggressive style and Muto's defense, culminating in a victory for Muto with a flash pin in 12 minutes 16 seconds. It seems to be previewing the game Giant Graham 2000, All Japan Pro Wrestling 3. This page introduces the core rules of the Pro Wrestling Technique 3-way deadlock system featured in a new wrestling game, appealing to fans of the Toukan Retsuden series, likely referring to a series similar to Fire Pro Wrestling, on PlayStation. The system revolves around a rock-paper-scissors dynamic between 3 technique types: striking, joint lock, and throwing, creating strategic depth. The article highlights that while this system makes the game accessible to beginners, it's crucial to consider the flow of a wrestling match. It emphasizes using smaller techniques to weaken opponents and build up to impactful, big techniques. There's also a discussion about elements from the PlayStation version of Toukan Retsuden 3, specifically the possibility of teammate betrayal in tag team matches, indicating this feature might be present in the new game. The screenshots illustrate in-game wrestling action and moves, showcasing the visual aspects of the title. This page details wrestling techniques and game development for Toucan Retsuden 4. The game features 3 core wrestling techniques: striking, throwing, and joint techniques, each visually explained with screenshots. A critical combination system allows wrestlers to use signature moves and combinations for increased attack power. Developer insights are provided by Tomy, publisher, Yuke's developer, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW, the game's inspiration. TOMY mentions the game and its toy information website. YUKEs discusses the game's development and motion capture. NJPW directs readers to their website for match information. The game also emphasizes stadium atmosphere, crowd excitement, and wrestler entrances, with detailed textures and stage costumes. In-game screenshots showcase moves like Dragon Screw and STF, and wrestler entrances with lighting and smoke. This page previews the Dreamcast game, 7 Secret Treasures, Sentimental Smile. This 3D adventure game introduces a new 2-player system called Pair Acon System. The page highlights the game's cooperative play, where players can work together to defeat enemies. The game is presented through 2 character perspectives, Kay and Reina. The text mentions the storyline involves Reina searching for the missing Professor Ernest, her lover's father, leading her to a mysterious island. If playing single-player as Reina, players will experience a more in-depth story, potentially involving romance with Ernest's son, Alan. The game is described as a horror adventure and is 50% complete at this stage, priced at 6,800 yen. It is noted to be playable in single-player also. This page reveals the first look at the single-player cooperative play mode of Resident Evil Code Veronica. In single-player, one character is controlled by the player, and the other is AI-controlled. The gameplay is described in 3 steps. First, the player explores to find Rina, who is locked in a room. After finding a tool, the player can rescue and team up with Rina to explore the mansion together. However, they must watch out for dangerous creatures like Ripper. During battles, the AI partner will assist, and the player needs to protect Rina, especially when opening doors, described as the most dangerous moment. A new creature called Mask Flower is introduced, a plant-based bioweapon with a large mouth and teeth, immobile but capable of spitting poison. In this cooperative gameplay scenario from a survival horror game, likely Resident Evil Code Veronica, players face their first challenge, rescuing Rinka from a fast, relentless Ripper creature in the Genetic Research Institute. The gate closes behind Rinka after she enters, trapping her. Players must use the map and available items to navigate the building's layout and solve puzzles to survive. The Ripper, a human-like bio-creature with deadly weapons, targets Rinka. Players are advised to make quick decisions and utilize teamwork. The recommended strategy is to move right, get behind the Ripper, and save Rinka. The situation demands swift action to overcome the threat and keep Rinka safe. New CG images showcase a game set in a disturbing research facility focused on human body modification. The Meat Labyrinth features bioorganic elements, like a pipe organ connecting altar areas on New Rassel Island, where dangerous genetic research and suspicious rituals occur. A floating, possibly insane-making human face, and the formidable 3 Valgar enemy, a fast, spider-like and human-like creature, are key aspects of the game's unsettling atmosphere. Gameplay focuses on cooperative play, with a shared screen recommended for better enemy tracking. Avoiding the Valgar is advised. Sidestepping and utilizing case-based viewpoints are crucial for survival. In split screen, aiming is centered, with directional keys adjusting the view. Green indicates normal aim, turning red when locked onto an enemy. The mouths of masked crawlers are their weak point. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Connie Panic, which is based on the anime Super Invention Boy Connie Pan. It's a creative RPG developed by Sega and set to be released on June 24th for 5,800 yen. The game is described as a Dreamcast RPG that ties in with the anime series, starting around the point where Connie Pan becomes a rank C inventor. Gameplay involves collecting information, battling, and importantly, invention is a key element to progress. It also features VM game functionality with Asande Kid DCDC, where you raise a character called Kid. This VM game lets you use the VM unit as a scheduler to train Kid, with the type of Kid you raise changing based on parameters, and you can even battle against friends. The page also shows screenshots of gameplay and introduces Connie Pan and his mentor, Dr. Shu. This page highlights the game Gadget Trial, a title centered around invention. The core gameplay loop revolves around gathering materials and inspiration to create inventions. Inspiration can be found by reading books in research facilities and homes, where books like Invention Friends can even provide manufacturing methods. Conversations with townspeople also yield inspiration, and helping those in need can improve your inventor license rank. The game features a simulation mode to figure out the manufacturing process by combining materials and following steps. Once simulated, inventions are crafted using invention machines found in research facilities. The inventions extend beyond just items, including robots that you can use in battles. Robot creation requires special core materials. The page emphasizes that invention is key to progressing the story in Gadget Trial. This page introduces the Dreamcast game Expendable, referred to as Biological Weapon Expendable in Japanese. This action shooting game is described as being full of destruction and explosions, with 16 stages. The preview mentions a gradual increase in difficulty as players progress through diverse environments, including buildings and volcanoes. The game was 90% complete at the time of this magazine, with a planned release date of June 24th, priced at 5,800 yen. It's highlighted as an action shooting title and supports two-player cooperative play. The developers note that while the difficulty increases, it's not unfair, but designed to challenge players in a way that encourages skillful play and strategic thinking to overcome the enemies. They also mention stage variety, including urban areas and military bases. The game emphasizes dodging enemy attacks and using cover effectively, suggesting a strategic element to the shooting action. The next page highlights the intensifying battles in Incoming, focusing on enemy encounters. It details the aerial aliens, describing them as agile and numerous, advising players to use weapons with high-altitude attack range to counter them. The page also introduces bipedal walking machines, emphasizing their resilience to frontal attacks and suggesting players should exploit their blind spots. Further sections discuss water-based enemies that float on the surface, and a boss encounter named Fujitsubo, a large and imposing enemy that attacks with energy projectiles, indicating a challenging fight at the end of stages. Another gameplay mechanic is the rescue of hostages, pointing out that while saving them yields score bonuses, accidentally harming them has no penalty, encouraging a somewhat ruthless playstyle if desired. This page is an advertisement for the House of the Dead 2 Perfect Guide, a strategy guide published by SoftBank for the Sega Dreamcast game. The guide is 112 pages long and costs 1,300 yen plus tax. It promises complete stage strategies to defeat zombies, full coverage of branching points in each stage, recommended routes and details on item locations and types in original mode, alongside simple boss battle strategies. The advert declares this guide is the only complete guide for the DC version available from SoftBank Publishing. This page is an introduction to a Dreamcast software complete guide focusing on strategies and walkthroughs. The page features a detailed illustration of a complex mechanical structure, resembling an egg with intricate machinery inside, and a robot character giving a peace sign. The large Japanese characters translate to Strategy Guide. The page lists 4 games that will be covered in the guide. Elemental Gimmick Gear, on page 132, Kita E White Illumination, released internationally as White Illumination, on page 138, Blue Stinger, on page 142, and Redline Racer, on page 144. This page serves as a table of contents, or introduction, to the strategy guide section. This page is a strategy guide for Elemental Gimmick Gear, an action RPG on Dreamcast. It's focused on completing up to the first floor of Fanya from the game's beginning. The guide highlights gameplay tips from the start of the game in East Kion Town, suggesting players explore and talk to people. It mentions an initial boss fight with Rackle near his house. There's a section detailing strategy item acquisition, listing items and their locations within Fanya 1F. This includes items like A capsules, D capsules, E tanks, access chips, and flamestones. Finally, the page features a 3D boss battle strategy for Justice Horn. It advises players to use the R button to guard and then counterattack during openings. It emphasizes the importance of timing guard and counterattacks to defeat this boss. This strategy guide for Fog Edge South, a tropical area in Project Horned Owl, Gun Griffin, the Eurasian conflict, focuses on preparing players for the entrance to Fogna. The area features poisonous plants, and dangerous animals. The guide emphasizes learning combat basics and avoiding the perilous water flow, danger point, due to strong currents and deadly angler enemies. 2 defense capsules are highlighted. Capsule 2, readily found, and Capsule 10, obtainable after assisting Seba and acquiring the wire arm, which is crucial for surviving Fogna North. An enemy list details 4 enemy types: Pata, brown shell, tiny killer, angler. Including their stats and attack strategies, the guide encourages players to embrace early game deaths as a learning experience and a way to earn money for purchasing essential upgrades, particularly in E-Tank. Screenshots and directional arrows are used to navigate Fog Edge South. The next page is a strategy guide for Fogna 1F Southside, which is part of the Dreamcast game's 7th Cross evolution. This guide focuses on how to overcome traps within the dungeon. It details trap avoidance patterns, explaining how to use rotating gears and button presses to proceed. The page also describes enemy types like floor guards, brain 1, and little murderers, and suggests strategies to deal with them. Furthermore, the guide highlights the locations of key items, such as the access chip, D-capsule, E-tank, and flamestone, providing instructions on how to obtain them and their uses. The guide walks players through areas marked A to G on the map, giving step-by-step instructions on how to navigate traps, solve puzzles, and acquire items in the Fogna 1F Southside dungeon. This guide details strategies for Fog Edge North in a game. Players should acquire the wire arm by obtaining the flamestone and assisting a man in a cave. After, return to Fog Edge South for a defense-boosting D-capsule. The guide warns of danger points in valleys where falling causes damage. Enemy encounters include the non-aggressive grasshead, the wire-arm targetable Utubo no Kazura, the item-carrying giant bug, and the ripple maker. A 3D boss battle against Jointer requires players to target its head with punches, utilizing the spin dash. The staff direct talk advises players to stay mobile and be wary of the boss's separation and combination attacks, as well as the post-defeat explosion. This page provides a strategy guide for the Fogna North area in the Dreamcast game Frame Guide. It highlights the complex traps and the giant egg found in the central area. The guide advises players to carefully navigate the map and utilize items strategically to overcome the traps. The page details trap removal techniques, suggesting the use of a freeze stone. It also offers combat strategies, recommending ranged attacks using the wire arm against EGG enemies. An enemy list introduces 3 enemy types: Brain 2, J-Soldier, and Fly Gunner, outlining their HP and attack power. The Dungeon Route Guide provides a step-by-step walkthrough from Fog Edge to Fogna North, mentioning locations labeled C, D, E, F, G, and H. The guide directs players to activate cooling devices, use the wire arm, and obtain M and A capsules. Specific item acquisition instructions are also included for the M capsule found in the giant eggs room and the A capsule located on the floor above it. Screenshots throughout the page illustrate gameplay, enemy encounters, item pickups, and map layouts. This page details the life of Bonius Glengovey, a fictional EGG pilot. In 1413, at age 19, Bonius enlisted in the Tokyon military, later becoming an EGG pilot in the 1st Mobile Armor Division. In 1416, he achieved a legendary victory against Balturna, despite being vastly outnumbered, solidifying the EGG's importance. Over the following years, Bonius, a celebrated pilot known for his skill and leadership, participated in numerous missions, eventually leading the Blue Gale Squadron. In 1436, he was tasked with suppressing bandits. During this mission in 1437, Bonius faced and defeated the bandit leader in a golden EGG, but was killed in the process. His death deeply impacted his subordinate, Warland Siri, who vowed to continue Bonius's legacy. This page focuses on Kita E White Illumination, a Dreamcast title released exclusively in Japan. It serves as a guide, providing tips and hints for players. The page mentions that strategies are being finalized, and character profiles of 8 girls are being introduced. The goal is to achieve 100% completion for all 8 girls. The guide offers advice on how to reach the best ending, suggesting that the epilogue after the ending is only shown when affection levels are very high. It hints that if players are struggling, they should aim for high scores in the arcade building games. The page focuses on the character Megumi Aida, describing her as childish but mature. It talks about her summer and winter scenarios, mentioning she is waiting for the protagonist in Sapporo during winter. It suggests date spots in Sapporo to raise affection, recommending places like Mama Saboroso, Beardal Balm, Red Tea Shop Assam, Suginosawa Building, and Sapporo SPA Land. The guide also provides tips for specific situations, like answering Megumi's questions at the Red Tea Shop Assam, honestly, and behaving naturally at Sapporo SPA Land during a pool event. It suggests that being too grown-up or cold is not good, and offering a drink like tea is a nice gesture. Another section, in Jaggi, focuses on dialogue options with Megumi, asking about her father and if he was excited about building houses in their childhood, suggesting positive responses to raise affection. This guide details a dating experience in Hakodate tailored for fans, emphasizing a gentle side of Megumi. The 3 key locations are Goryokaku, the Bay Area, and Motomachi. Goryokaku features a soft cream shop, Tops, aligning with Megumi's dialogue about supporting milk consumption. The Bay Area's Felicimo Christmas Museum presents gift-giving dialogue options. Motomachi focuses on German sweets, particularly Lyman House, with related dialogue choices. The guide also hints at a Megumi's handmade doll element, suggesting intimacy. Travel segments between Hakodate and Sapporo involve Megumi's clumsiness, and the Sapporo section highlights snow and potential cat sightings, enhancing the romantic atmosphere. A legend explains how dialogue choices affect Megumi's feelings, ranging from positive to negative. The next page focuses on dating tips with Yuko Sakuracho in what appears to be a dating simulation game. It suggests date courses in Sapporo and highlights key events. For the Clock Tower date event, it mentions Yuko's love for photography and how she becomes engrossed in discussing photos at the clock tower. The page suggests that her earnestness in talking about photography is endearing. The Mama Sabroso date event features eating squid ink pasta. It notes that Yuko might be embarrassed by her teeth becoming black after eating, but reacting positively to this will improve her affection. The Sapporo SPA Land date event describes Yuko in a swimsuit. It suggests complimenting her swimsuit and enjoying the indoor pool. Participating in the sauna until the end might trigger a special event where she collapses. The page emphasizes that facial expressions are key during camera events. It advises choosing options that appeal to Yuko's feelings during these events to increase her affection. This page from Dreamcast Magazine features a guide to dating spots in the Hakodate area, suggesting courses involving Yunokawa Onsen and the Bay Area. It highlights gourmet food in the Bay Area as a must-try, focusing on buffet-style restaurants. There is a section about a prank in Yunokawa Onsen related to Kita-e white illumination, where cold water is splashed on someone in the hot springs. Another section mentions Motomachi, suggesting a photo museum as a good spot, also connected to Kita-e white illumination, where taking commemorative photos is encouraged. The page also promotes Kita-e white illumination extensively as part of a Hudson fan page, announcing Photo Memories merchandise and advertising the Sugishirin Friends Association meeting number 8. It mentions that fan discs and MIL CDs, including a vocal collection CD and photo memories for Kita-e white illumination, are continuously being released, indicating the game's ongoing popularity and merchandise expansions. Finally, a corner called This Week's Bath introduces elemental gimmick gear, posing the question, what is it? And seeking reader submissions and opinions on both Kita-e white illumination and elemental gimmick gear, inviting readers to send in their thoughts to the Sugisurin Friends Association. This page is about the Dreamcast game Blue Stinger and the Pleasure One extra content available after completing the game. It details 2 reward scenarios based on clear time. If you clear the game in 5 to 7 hours, when you continue playing using that save data, Elliot will start with the homing gray weapon and its magazine. If you clear the game in under 5 hours, Elliot will start with all weapons and full magazines as initial equipment, including 9 magazines for Elliot's weapons. The page also explains how to use save files to access this content by continuing the game after the ending and choosing Load Game and selecting the clear data. It also mentions that the ending save data will be highlighted in a different color. The homing gray weapon is described as having auto-tracking bullets and being powerful, especially effective against boss enemies and dinocytes, and it sells for a high price of $1,200. Pleasure 2 Inches in Resident Evil 2 unlocks special features upon continuing a game after completing the hard difficulty with an A rank, rescuing all 4 sub-characters, and not using any first spray items. This unlocks items like the Hassie Drink Long, providing full health replenishment. You start with 100. Pleasure 3 Inches unlocks content after clearing the game more than 3 times with the same save file, provided you also avoid triggering events for any sub-characters. This unlocks unlimited ammo, all special weapons, shotgun, acid gun, etc., and increased firing rates for some weapons. Additionally, fulfilling Pleasure 3 inches conditions causes Elliot and Janine to appear in swimsuits, and Elliot, in a swimsuit, can swim. This page is dedicated to Redline Racer, providing a strategy guide for the Final Emperor GP, specifically the Europa Metropolis course. It showcases 4 distinct vehicles: Hoverbike, Anorak, Skits, and Roger Rocket, each with star ratings for acceleration, top speed, handling, and braking. The page features a course commentary, offering insights into the Europa Metropolis track, alongside a point attack section. This section utilizes a numbered map of the course, with corresponding screenshots and text descriptions, guiding players through strategic points on the track. The guide emphasizes techniques for mastering the challenging corners and maintaining speed, particularly on the Europa Metropolis stage, which features narrow roads and tight corners. This page is dedicated to providing expert strategy guides for the Emperor GP mode in a racing game on Dreamcast. It showcases 4 different courses: Orchard Drain, Le Grand Blanc, Seafall Bay, and Castle Raceway. For each course, there is a map highlighting key numbered sections, along with a course explanation section giving advice on how to approach the track. Additionally, a point attack section features in-game screenshots with further tips on specific corners and areas of each course, offering guidance on braking points, cornering techniques, and optimal racing lines to achieve the best times. These guides aim to help players master each track and improve their performance in the Emperor GP races. This page is from the Sunrise Hero Chronicles section, Volume 15, titled Sunrise Robot of CG World, and focuses on the new mobile report Gundam Wing anime series. Specifically, it features the OZ-07 AMS Ares mobile suit. The page details the Ares as a mass-produced mobile suit developed by the secret military organization OZ for air combat. It highlights that while its mobility in the air is high, its weaponry is limited to a chain rifle and missile pods, making it less versatile. The pilot described as a typical OZ soldier, part of the Special Mobile Suit Division, led by Treze Kushranada. The data section provides technical specs. The Ares is 16.9 meters tall, weighs 8.0 tons, and is armed with a chain rifle and missile pods. The pilot is listed as Lucrezia Nosin, and it is operated by OZ General Soldiers. It mentions the armor material is titanium alloy, and verniers on the back enable high-speed movement. The explanation section describes Ares as a mobile suit appearing in New Mobile Report Gundam Wing, a TV anime series broadcast from April 1995 to March 1996. It was a popular series that spawned OVAs and theatrical releases, captivating both old and new Gundam fans. The story revolves around the conflict between the Earth-Sphere Unified Alliance and space colonies aiming for independence, featuring 5 Gundams and 5 young pilots, including the protagonist Hiro Yui. The Ares is described as a mass-produced mobile suit developed by OZ, known for its high air mobility. This page is a manga strip titled Evolution, Divine Machine World. The manga tells a short story featuring characters from the game Evolution, the World of Sacred Device. The story seems to be comedic and follows the character Linear Cannon, who is looking for something in the woods. Possibly the character Mag Launcher, who appears to be hiding in a hole and then in a box. The character Grenade is also introduced at the end of the strip. The page also includes character introductions for Linear Cannon, Mag Launcher, and Grenade, briefly describing them. Evolution, the World of Sacred Device, is a Dreamcast RPG released in Japan and later localized as Evolution, the World of Sacred Device, and Evolution 2, Far Off Promise, internationally on Dreamcast. This page is dedicated to Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram. It's positioned as an introductory guide for players who are still new to the game. The page has sections like a recap of previous information, a focus on standard close combat techniques, and instructions on using trigger inputs when the weapon gauge is yellow. There are screenshots demonstrating in-game action and close-up views of the mechs, along with character artwork. The text appears to give gameplay advice and explanations of game mechanics. It's aimed at helping players get into Virtual On Oratorio Tangram, often nicknamed Oratan, and improve their skills. This page is a gameplay guide for Virtua On Oratorio Tangram, focusing on close combat techniques. It features dialogue between 2 characters, a professor and Ron, discussing various advanced maneuvers. The guide covers several close-range attack strategies. Crouching close combat is initiated by crouching and using trigger inputs, emphasizing lever manipulation. Guard reversal close combat teaches how to transition from a guard stance into a close-range attack by using trigger inputs from a guard pose, allowing for counterattacks. Turbo close combat utilizes the turbo button in combination with trigger inputs for powerful close-quarters engagements. Small jump close combat involves performing close combat during a small jump by using lever outwards and trigger inputs. Quick step close combat demonstrates how to use quick steps into close combat when the weapon gauge is yellow, allowing for aggressive offensive maneuvers. Dash close combat explains performing close combat after a dash, suitable for engaging opponents quickly. Finally, down attack details how to effectively attack opponents who have been knocked down by using close combat when the weapon gauge turns green from yellow. The guide stresses understanding the timing and weapon gauge colors for optimal execution of these advanced close combat techniques. It encourages players to master these techniques to become formidable in Virtua On, Oratorio Tangram. This article details the updated Angelan unit in Cybertroopers Virtual Oratorio Tangram version 5.4. Angelan, accessible to both new and experienced players, features unique attacks like breath attacks with the CW weapon and turbo-based maneuvers similar to Vasva but with reduced inertia. Version 5.4 enhances high-speed movement via weaving, increases durability, and compensates for slightly reduced jump performance with improved mid-range counterattacks. Notable weapon changes include a stun-inducing RW, improved CW homing ability, and an extended reach for close combat rod attacks. A developer interview reveals the team's vision for Angelan, including comments on gameplay challenges like ice walls and the character's surprising Death God roll. Screenshots demonstrate gameplay and weapon control mapping. This page introduces the renewed Barbados unit in Cybertroopers Virtual Oratorio Tangram Ver 5.4 for the Dreamcast. It explains the changes from the original Valbasbo, noting that the ERL, Energy Reflector Launcher, has been renamed from BIT and can now be placed anywhere on the stage. The article highlights that the ring laser fired by the RW, right weapon, has reduced projectile canceling ability compared to the previous model. The section on the new version 5.4 Barbados describes it as retaining its basic capabilities, but with reduced overall performance, making it harder to down opponents, referring to it as Demon Main. It mentions that the ring laser in version 5.4 has slightly improved projectile canceling performance. The LW, left weapon mines, now have enhanced homing capabilities. The article also explains that when using the Jump Turbo RW and LW to place ERLs, the display now shows jump and indicates whether the ERL has been placed in the air when using Reflect Laser 2, making it easier to understand. The screenshots show gameplay footage of the Barbados in action, displaying in-game UI elements. The bottom section features a comment from a Virtuoid developer at Virtual On Works, mentioning that despite the cool robot design, the comical motions make it a bit of a comedic character, but still a successor to the Valbasbo. They also mention the ring laser's projectile canceling ability being improved in version 5.4, similar to the original Valbasbo. This page is about raising Light Chaos Cow in Sonic Adventure. It is presented as a guide for players who want to know how to get a Light Chaos Cow. The page highlights that Light Chaos Chow evolves from a normal Chow within a Chow cocoon. It gives 2 hints on raising a Light Chaos Cow. Hint 1 explains that the key is to have a Chow inherit the characteristics of 15 different types of animals. It mentions that you need to give 15 types of animals to your Chow in a short period for it to work. Hint 2 mentions the concept of Chow reincarnation and suggests thinking about this in relation to raising a Light Chaos Cow. The page emphasizes that only Chow can become Light Chaos Cow and not Devil Chow, and encourages players to raise their own Light Chaos Cow and witness its birth in their Cow garden. This page is dedicated to Chow from Sonic Adventure. It's a reader-submitted section focusing on raising Chow in the game. One section titled, Such Chow, Nurturing Chow, features user instructions on creating a specific type of Chow, the debut Chow, or Fat Chow. It details feeding a pure Chow, lots of sea creature animals, and then yellow bird animals to achieve this type. Another section, Teach Me Chow Team, answers the question of Chow lifespan. It explains that Cow in Sonic Adventure can live over 100 years if well cared for, especially by petting them and feeding them fruit like coconuts. A screenshot shows Cow stats. emphasizing the importance of kinship, affection, for a long life. Parent Fool Readers, Chow Boasting, highlights player submissions about their cow. One reader is raising a light chaos chow, and the section encourages more players to submit their cow raising methods. Chow figure arrived, showcases a reader-made chow figure using epoxy putty. The figure is described as 7 centimeters tall and 10 centimeters wide, and is based on the Ruger-type cow from Sonic Adventure. Finally, in the We're Waiting for Letters, Chow section, the magazine calls for more reader submissions about Chow for the Dreamcast Magazine. It provides an address for sending in letters about Chow raising experiences and fan art. Reader drawings feature Chow with Sonic characters like Tails and Amy Rose. This page is dedicated to Seventh Cross and its Fighting Integration Disc, or FID. It features an interview with Goro Fukugawa, producer at NEC Home Electronics, who explains the reasons behind creating the FID. He states that it was driven by user feedback and a desire to provide ongoing support for players who purchased the original Seventh Cross. He wanted to offer more than just a game, emphasizing player-creature development and the potential for network battles. The FID was released on July 9th and was included as an extra with Dreamcast Magazine. The page showcases a screenshot of a 3D creature battle, proclaiming, "Dream battles realized." It also mentions Fighting Network and internet connectivity for Seventh Cross, alluding to online multiplayer functionality for the game. This page is about the game's Seventh Cross, focusing on its core elements. It highlights the game's survival theme, emphasizing a harsh world of predator and prey. The gameplay is described as real-time, creating tension as you navigate environments and engage in battles. A key feature is the DNA sheet system, which allows players to manipulate genes and create unique creatures. You design creatures by inputting patterns into a 10x10 grid, which the game's AI then interprets for evolution. The article emphasizes the vast number of part combinations available, over 810,000, allowing for highly customized creatures. It also mentions the game's narrative is intentionally kept mysterious until the very end, adding intrigue to the experience. Screenshots show in-game action, the DNA sheet interface, and examples of the customizable creatures players can create, including one called Demon and another called BioRacer. This page introduces the FID feature for the game's Seven Cross. FID supports player-created creatures in one-on-one battles, allowing you to use the creatures you've raised. You can set detailed battle patterns for your creatures using the battle pattern screen, dictating their combat strategies. The Fighting Network is detailed, expanding the game online and enabling nationwide network battles against other players. Online features include tournament arenas, official rankings, and communication tools such as a bulletin board, alongside features like sparring partner waiting rooms and information sections. You can also download creature data through the Fighting Network. This page is a guide focused on creature training in the Dreamcast game's Seventh Cross Evolution. The article advises players on how to prepare their creatures, nicknamed Rusk, for an upcoming tournament. It highlights 3 key training points. Firstly, it's crucial to decide on a training direction early, focusing on either physical attacks or defense, especially for the middleweight class tournament, where creatures are capped at 3,500 total stats. Secondly, efficient feeding is essential to obtain the desired body composition, encouraging players to hunt in designated areas and utilize terrain to gather ingredients effectively. The guide then details DNA sheet input and the Neuro learning system. It explains that Neuro learns from patterns of DNA input, and players should experiment with slightly varying the input patterns over multiple attempts, rather than repeating the same input consecutively, to enhance learning and avoid confusion for Neuro. Examples of input sequences and level progression are shown. Finally, the page announces an internet tournament for Seventh Cross Evolution starting in early July. The tournament will feature middleweight and openweight categories, with prizes such as Nechi hardware offered to winners. Players are encouraged to begin training their creatures in preparation for this online competition. This Dreamcast Magazine page, titled Genotai, is a community section dedicated to the game Senkoku Tierbi. The page promotes the game's playable demo included in the 7/9 issue and highlights save data transfer to the full retail version. Addressing concerns about the game's perceived danger, Genotai invites first-time players to submit questions. The section features new Turb people, encouraging newcomers, particularly Turb second-generation players, to purchase the magazine for the demo. It introduces reader-submitted characters with illustrations and descriptions, including their regions of origin, such as Sajan, Jinochan, and Puri. Genotai invites further participation via submissions of illustrations and ideas. A ranking system is in place, with rewards like Kuma keyholders offered for top-ranked entries. This page is the contents page and weekly data station from Weekly Sega Saturn Magazine, dated June 11, 1999. The contents section mentions articles on page 160 about a Sega Saturn reader race, and on page 164 for Monster Maker Holly Dagger. The weekly data station section shows 2 top game charts. The user data top 5 expected new releases ranks Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, at number 1, followed by Waku Waku 7, With You, Mitsumete Itai, Real Sound 2 Kaze no Regret, and Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter 03. The shop data top 3 top-selling software lists Friends Seishun no Kagayaki at number 1, Derby Stallion in second place, and Sentimental Graffiti at number 3. Below these charts is the Sega Saturn release schedule calendar, listing upcoming games. Games scheduled for release include Pro Yaku Guidebook 99 in June, With You Mitsumete Itai in July, and Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter 03, Standard, and 4 MB RAM pack versions, and Monster Maker Holly Dagger in August. Games listed as release date undecided include Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, Real Sound 2 Kaze no Regret, J-League Excite Stage 97, and Waku Waku 7. This page showcases the weekly Sega Saturn Readers Race, a popularity ranking of Saturn games based on reader votes. It lists numerous titles, including top-ranked games like Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, Who is the Girl Reflected in This World, and Grandia. The page explains that these rankings are based on reader evaluations and are updated weekly, reflecting current player opinions of Saturn software. The bottom section teases the upcoming final decision of the reader race, hinting at a dramatic conclusion and asking who will ultimately be crowned number 1, currently Soul Hackers. This page presents a Sega Saturn Masterpieces, Famous Horse Ranking, a reader poll ranking of popular Sega Saturn games over 50 weeks, with top games scoring 9 or more points. It also features masterpiece pickup reviews and screenshots for 4 highlighted titles. Top-rated games include Magical Knight Rayearth, Layer Section, Virtual Fighter 2, and Asterisk Nights into Dreams. The masterpiece pickup section reviews Magical Knight Rayearth Asterisk, RPG, Nights into Dreams, Unique Speed and Floating Gameplay, Quiz, Nana Iroh Dreams, Rainbow-Colored Towns Oddities, Quiz with Romantic Elements, and Asterisk, Machi, Street, Asterisk, Live-Action Adventure with Branching Storylines. Additionally, a table provides details like release dates, genres, reader scores, and magazine reviewer scores for a wide array of Sega Saturn games. The next page showcases the Sega Saturn Readers Race Odds Table Saturn C ranking. This page is a massive list of Sega Saturn games ranked by reader votes, displaying the game title, genre, and average vote score. At the very top of the list is Sakura Wars Hanagumi Tsushin in 425th place, followed by Panzer Dragoon, Clockwork Knight, and many other titles spanning various genres. The list continues down the page with hundreds of Saturn games, each ranked according to the reader poll. It's a comprehensive overview of popular Saturn games, as voted by magazine readers. This page features several sections related to Sega Saturn and Dreamcast. Starting with the Saturn side, there's a ranking called Ozzy's Saturn D, and a ranking for Ozzy's Sega Saturn peripheral devices, which lists various accessories and their scores. Moving to the Voices of Advanced Horse Racing Owners section, readers are giving opinions on games. One person mentions Redline Racer for Sega Saturn, saying it looks like Road Rash. Another talks about Descrimson 2, suggesting it might be a title worth considering. There's also a comment questioning whether action games where progress continues even after death are still being made. The page highlights 4.5 years of battle, finally a decision, suggesting the next issue will be the final conclusion for reader rankings and votes. The postcards are with Dreamcast. Section announces a prediction game competition where readers can win prizes. One game to predict the ranking of is The King of Fighters Dream Match 1999. Another competition is to predict the Aussie score for Giant Graham All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan. This issue's special prize is a Dreamcast arcade stick and a visual memory unit, which will be given to 5 lucky winners who participate in the postcard campaign. Finally, there's an advertisement for the Dreamcast arcade stick and visual memory, promoting them as new generation controllers and highlighting the postcard campaign where 5 participants will win these as prizes. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Monster Maker. Holy Dagger, a simulation RPG by NEC Interchannel that was 75% complete at the time of writing and scheduled for a summer release at a price of 6,800 yen. The developers are grateful for fan support and are working hard to deliver a great game. The article highlights the game's battle system, emphasizing the strategic depth created by combining commands. It explains that the action system uses a frame count mechanic, allowing players to create complex command sequences, such as combining attack with special move, or move, followed by attack, and then special move, leading to varied battle tactics. The page also showcases character art for Alshark, Elsize, Rolian, Vishnu, Luffy, Melisse, and Diane. Screenshots depict in-game scenes and the battle interface. The text suggests this installment is taking the Monster Maker series in a new direction within the RPG genre. This page is a preview for an upcoming Sega Saturn strategy RPG. The game emphasizes utilizing diverse terrains in battles, including rivers, caves, forests, and cities, using the terrain's height and obstacles to your advantage in combat and magic. A key feature is the ability to freely rotate the viewpoint 360 degrees, described as essential for discovering enemy positions. The battle system is based on combining multiple commands, requiring strategic thinking and anticipation of enemy actions to minimize damage. The story centers around Ephidios and Macduff, who are studying abroad when they learn of an orc invasion threatening Macedon. They rush back to protect Princess Maria but are ambushed, revealing a plot targeting their lives, hinting at deeper mysteries connected to the invasion. Featured characters include Damron and Sharna, along with more detailed profiles for Areos, the 18-year-old pacifist prince of Zoraria, not skilled in swordsmanship, and a childhood friend of Maria and Macduff. Edeos's 20-year-old vassal, with a cold and hostile personality, suspicious about his father's death, the former king. Maria, the 17-year-old princess of Macedon, in Zoraria Kingdom, and Eos's fiancée, described as gentle but strong-willed. While the game title isn't prominently displayed, it's likely to be a strategy RPG focused on these characters and their unfolding story within a fantasy setting. This page features an interview with Oji Hiroi, the general producer, regarding the Sakura Wars Song Show 3. The interview discusses the upcoming song show, mentioning that it's the third summer for the show, which was officially announced on April 14th and has been well received in the past. Hiroi mentions that all songs for Song Show 3 are original compositions, and the staff decided to go with all new songs instead of using older tracks from Sakura Wars 1 and 2. He elaborates on the creative process, noting that the stage production is currently around 3 hours long and they are working on trimming it down. He also mentions the tight schedule, especially concerning cast rehearsals and stage setup, and the challenges in coordinating everything by mid-July for the general rehearsals. Hiroi points out that this time, the stage production was created first, and the songs are being composed to fit the scenes, which is a reverse approach from previous shows. He concludes by stating that this new approach of creating songs based on the stage scenes is a trial for the Imperial Opera Troupe. This page is focused on Sakura Wars stage shows. It features 3 shows. The 1997 show titled Because of You, which was based on the first Sakura Wars game and starred Sakura and Maria. The 1998 show was titled Tsubasa and was recorded as a drama CD, with Iris and Kurenai as key characters in the climax scene. The newest show being advertised is the 1999 show titled Red Hot Battlefield, starring Sumair and Kana. Kohei Tanaka, the music composer, is interviewed and shown with promotional materials. The page also details ticket sales information for the Red Hot Battlefield show, including dates in August 1999 at the Tokyo Kosei Nenkin Kaikan, ticket prices, and contact details. There is also a prize campaign to win a signed photo diary of the Tsubasa show. This page from Hello! Capcom Volume 90 features a section dedicated to Street Fighter II Third Strike, specifically the 5th installment of the Peek into Development series. The article focuses on Remy, highlighting him as the most challenging character to create for Street Fighter II Third Strike. The development team, including Imamura and NEO_G, explained that Remy was added quite late in production as the 20th and final character, to fulfill a specific need for a beautiful male character within the game. The article discusses the difficulties faced during his design and voice recording process. It also mentions voice actor Eiji Sekiguchi, whose voice was considered a perfect match for Remy. Despite the challenges, the team expresses satisfaction with Remy's final design and gameplay, suggesting players will find him interesting to use. This page focuses on Street Fighter II-I, Third Strike, and details new techniques and strategies for the game. The article highlights new character introductions and encourages players to master the game. It discusses advanced techniques, including canceling moves, specific attack combinations for various situations such as ground attacks, air attacks, and anti-air tactics. Several combo examples are listed using symbols and notations specific to fighting games. The page also mentions hidden colors for characters which are unlocked when selecting characters. It seems to be an in-depth preview for players to learn advanced gameplay strategies. This page is from Sega AMR&D Department No. 3 Official Corner and focuses on Reverse Mode Navigation 1 for the game Crazy Taxi. It's highlighting the Road of Crazy for Reverse Mode and introduces this new mode with navigators Axel, BD Joe, Gina, and Gus. The article seems to be explaining how to play Reverse Mode, with dialogue between the navigators discussing its features. The page includes a map of the game world, pinpointing locations from A to K, and screenshots showing gameplay in reverse mode, indicating it involves picking up customers in reverse from the usual routes. The navigators are giving advice and tips on how to play this mode, suggesting it's a different and potentially more challenging way to experience Crazy Taxi. It emphasizes the need to understand customer patterns and locations, as well as being careful at intersections in this mode. This page is dedicated to Rush Hill Rally. It's titled Spectators Check! Final Party, and features character profiles and gameplay tips. The page introduces several characters. Vega is a university student studying counseling. Grandma J, known in her neighborhood, is rumored to drive a taxi sometimes. Duncan works as an X-ray technician at CT Hospital and enjoys bodyboarding and tennis. Barbara is currently job hunting and has interviews lined up at Pizza Hut, Clock Tower Theater, and Borders Paradise. Finally, Skips is a mechanic's assistant at the heliport, who also enjoys Tower Records and Borders Paradise. The page also includes a conversation between characters, Joe, Gina, Gus, and Axel, discussing strategies in Rush Hill Rally. They talk about reverse mode, which seems to be a gameplay mechanic. They discuss passenger pickup locations like the bus terminal, Short Mall, Mall End Gate, CT Hospital, and Fire Station, and the importance of picking up long-distance passengers to effectively progress in the game and navigate the city streets. They discuss routes and corners and optimal passenger types for different locations. This page is announcing upcoming prizes for Dreamcast fans from October to December, getting into the Christmas spirit early. There are also some prizes from May to June highlighted. For October, you can expect Super Jumbo Christmas plushies of Dagashi and Chocoball Kyoro-chans. Dreamcast titles also have prizes coming in July and August, including Shenmue t-shirts, Power Stone bubble mirrors and mousepads, and Virtua Fighter Kids merchandise from Virgin Interact. November brings Sesame Street Christmas mascots. Looking back at May and June prizes, there were nostalgic characters like Vicky the Viking, with related items. If you are a Cup Noodle fan, there was a Troy Mayer World 3-minute noodle timer. The May to June prize list included items from games like Sonic Adventure, Panzer Dragoon, Virtua Fighter Kids, Virtua Cop, and more, including Sesame Street and various character goods. Keta-chan is also having a generous present campaign, with 4 types of items marked present. Finally, Puyo Puyo sound plushies and Cyber Troopers virtual on Oratorio Tangram neck holders were also available as prizes. This page is an advertisement for Disney Arcade prizes available in Japan during May and June. It promotes items such as Winnie the Pooh bags and lunch boxes, Mickey and Minnie cushions, and Nightmare Before Christmas coin banks, all obtainable as prizes in arcade UFO catcher machines. The page also lists a variety of other Disney merchandise prizes available, including plush toys, towels featuring Bambi and Dumbo, and 101 Dalmatians umbrellas. A short comic strip humorously depicts the prize development and manufacturing process, highlighting that the plush toys are made in China and undergo quality inspections. This page is the contents page for GM Magazine Issue 3. It highlights several key articles. The cover interview features Masaru Tsukuda from MediaWorks, discussing the current state of game media. The main feature focuses on the character business in video games. using Pokémon as an example of globally successful characters. Another feature explores the sources of ideas in game development and the passion of creators. The special section covers topics like the continued appeal of the Sega Saturn, the horror of Silent Hill, and an inside look at the game industry. The GM Recommends section lists recommended games including Detective Jinguji Saburo, Dream's End, Tengai Makyo, Daion no Mokushiroku, The Apocalypse IV, Power Pro Kun Pocket, Remember My Heart, Akane Kasaneko fortune-telling game, Lightning Zan, Metal Slug 2, Aerodancer, and Grand Theft Auto 2. This page is the weekly horoscope section titled Dreamcastrology. It provides readings for each of the 12 zodiac signs for the week of May 28th to June 3rd. Each horoscope entry includes ratings for money luck, health luck, love luck, and work luck, along with advice and a star rating. Illustrations and specific advice are also given for boys and girls within each zodiac sign. The page also features a section called This Week's Lucky Person, which highlights Zangief from Street Fighter II, who is mentioned as being born on June 1st under the Gemini sign, and emphasizes the importance of effort and determination for people born under this sign. This page is an advertisement for reader presents from Dreamcast Magazine. There are 4 prizes available to win for readers who answer a questionnaire. The prizes are Dreamcast software for 20 people, a Noel strap for 10 people, a Neo Geo Pocket King of Fighters R2 poster for 5 people, and a With You Mitsumete Itai telephone card set for 1 person. This made sick. The application deadline is June 10th. The advert also previews the contents of the upcoming issues of Dreamcast Magazine. The June 4th issue will feature Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram for Dreamcast, coverage of the Sega New Challenge Conference, 99, Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan, and Kingdom of Griffin, Space Griffin. The June 18th issue will preview Air Force Delta, Soul Calibur, Marionette Handler, Magical X, Shenmue, ESPIONAGENTS. Sunrise Heroes, Let's Make a Pro Baseball Team, The Dreamcast Complete Guide, EGG, Dynamite Cop 2, a Naomi special on Ferrari F355, and an interview with Yu Suzuki. This page is an advertisement for the Sakura Wars CD single. Sakura Wars, this is the review. It announces the release of this CD single on June 2nd, featuring the main song and the coupling song, Kiki, Imperial Assault Force, Kai 2. A special jacket-size sticker is included with the first edition. There is also a promotional campaign for the CD at Animate stores. Furthermore, the page advertises the Sakura Wars Flower Division Christmas, Bell of Miracles, CD, and Laserdisc. A campaign is underway for this release too. Finally, there is an advert for a game music soundtrack CD called Radio DC, hosted by Koichi Kobayashi, known from Best Hit USA and Snakeman Show. This CD features arrangements of Sega game music and includes tracks from games like Sonic You Can Do Anything from Sonic CD, Sona Mi, Ru EC, Sansitu from Panzer Dragoon RPG, and Theme from Phantasy Star 2i. This page showcases the Sega Saturn game With You Mitasmete Itai, a love adventure game slated for release in July and priced at 7,200 yen for a 2-CD set. The game's tagline is, I want to gaze at you, and the text describes the feeling of endlessly chasing after a girl. The page also features screenshots from With You and other similar visual novel-style games. In the top right corner, Soul Calibur is highlighted alongside the Dreamcast Magazine issue details, specifying it's the June 11, 1999, Volume 18 edition.